Hello, everyone. Welcome to episode 19 of Dreadful Talk. Really excited about this one. My guest for this week is Jay Finley, MMA fighter and former Marine, and I'm really looking forward to getting into it with him. And but before we go any further, this episode is brought to you by our sponsor, Zach Brown. Zach Brown can help you with life insurance, property insurance, and real estate. Man of many talents, a good man to know. You can reach him at 405-255-7867, 405-255-7867. Zach mainly focuses, in the Oklahoma and Texas region, but, if you live outside of that state, I'm sure he'd be able to help you out or find somebody that could. So, yeah, feel free to reach out to Zach Brown about your life insurance, property insurance, and real estate needs. You can reach him at 405-255-7867. Now that the house cleaning is out of the way, let's go ahead and get our guest on here.
What up, what up, what up?
What up, buddy?
How are you, man?
Man, I'm doing good, brother. You think we can get that phone turned sideways?
Oh, yeah.
Giving you a heads up.
There we go.
Awesome, man. You at a freaking office? What are you doing?
No, I'm at the gym.
Oh, okay. Word, man. Well, hell yeah, man. I really appreciate you. Actually, dude, is there anywhere quieter you can go at all? It's like.
Can you hear? Is it super loud? Yeah, hold on.
Really hard by your friends, the bullies, William. I know, but like.
But yeah, everybody, this is my guest this week, Jay Finley. Known this guy a long time, and I just support what he's doing, and he supports what I'm doing. And we decided to get together and make this collab happen.
Oh, that's better.
Yeah, that's much better. Thanks so much, man.
For sure.
Awesome, brother, man. But yeah, thanks so much for your, lending me a little bit of your time, and I really appreciate you, man.
Yeah, always, man. Thanks for having me on. We were supposed to do this about a fight coming up. I wish that was still happening, but another one. There'll be another one soon.
Yeah, definitely. We can still, get your name out there and get everybody ready for that next bout. It's coming. And yeah, this isn't even a question I had written down, but it's kind of a natural segue. What it seems to me, I've known a couple of local fighters, and it seems to me that like on the smaller circuits, like finding somebody that's actually down to fight is half the battle, or more than half the battle. That seems to be a major struggle.
Yeah, man. I've gone through a lot of opponents, man. Like way more opponents than I've actually ever fought. I was supposed to fight, when was it? February of 2019. And I was matched with 13 different people and never got a fight. Goodness. I ended up taking a catch weight exhibition bout against one of my buddies because he had like 10 other guys pull out too.
Just to get some action?
Yeah, so yeah, it was the day after my dad's funeral actually, and so
oh shit.
So we were just like, well, we might as well. We're here. So
yeah,
I weighed in at I think he weighed in at like 180 something, and I weighed in at like 205 after a long night of drinking after my dad's funeral, so it was fun. But yeah, I mean, that's how it goes. It's hard to get fights. No, everyone wants to be a fighter till it comes down to fighting,
Yeah, exactly. Everybody everybody's an Instagram fighter until it's time to, get into the cage, man. That's so wild because you think it would be the opposite. You think, people would be chomping at the bit to fucking, put some of their skills on display and kind of move up the ladder and trying to get the show on the road. But I feel you, man. It's hard to find just reliable people in any aspect of life, and I guess that rolls over into fighting as well.
Man, it does. Give me 1 second. I'm going to try to find another charger here. My charger's not working. But yeah, I mean, it's actually kind of sad. Unfortunately, sometimes the fight business gets a little shady, which everyone's got a team, and a good team is important. But at the end of the day, fighting's kind of a selfish sport.
Yeah, it's an
'Cause
individual sport.
yeah, at the end of the day, it's you getting locked in a cage with some dude that wants to hurt you, and
Yeah.
and it's all love afterwards. I don't have any of my former opponent. Well, that's not true. I fought this one dork.
There's always that one guy, right?
Man, I fought a dork from Florida, and yeah, that guy's a loser. But I fought him on so I fought for a UKF world title last year, and it didn't go my way. I was in the hospital the week leading up to fight week. I spent the entire week in the hospital. I was cutting weight in the hospital, putting on a hoodie, going and trying to get in the on the treadmill and trying
What
to
were you in
sit
the hospital for, if you don't mind me asking?
Man, I was actually in a psychiatric hospital when my dad died on a four-wheeler, and I found my dad. He flipped it and broke his neck, so I found him, and
holy shit, brother.
yeah, it just built up, and
man.
Let's see, that was in February, and then in May I fought on a card in Miami, Oklahoma, and man, I was matched with like 3 or 4 different dudes in that one too, and like a week out, a guy finally said he would fight me, and he came up from 155 to 170 to fight me, and
good on him, whoever that guy is. That
yeah, man,
sounds like a man of character.
Yeah, he's a good dude, man. We're good friends, and it didn't go very well for him. I was just a lot bigger and hit a lot harder than he did. But
yeah, man, that's how it goes sometimes, man.
Yeah.
You go up weight class. Man, do you think is there like a commonality, but when these people drop out, like is there any like single common factor, or is it just every reason under the sun, or just all of them are bitches, or what is there a single common factor like that seems to be like reoccurring theme here? Or?
Man, a lot of times they'll for me it's my height. They'll see that I'm 6'4", 6'5", fighting at 170, and a lot of times,
what the fuck?
Yeah, a lot of times people don't want any part of that. My record is kind of deceiving, and when they see that, a lot of people don't like that too. I'm 6-4, but going into 2019, actually, going into my last 3 fights, I was 6-1. I lost to the same guy twice. I've got 10 fights. He's got 50-something fights.
Wow.
He's beat pretty much everyone in Oklahoma multiple times. So
he's one of those guys that's like really good for the local circuit, but not quite good enough to kind of crack through to the big show. Or why the hell is he even still fighting guys like you?
Man, he took our first fight on short notice too. I couldn't get matched, and about 2 weeks out, he agreed to fight me. Okay. I didn't know much about him. I knew who he was, but I didn't know a whole lot about him. I knew he was pretty good, and so we had a real good fight. He dropped me 3 times in the first fight, but we pretty much just stood in the middle and banged the whole fight.
Wow, that's gnarly, bro.
Yeah, and so he beat me in a decision, especially the third round, because I knew I was down in the scorecard. So I just pushed forward and
I love that though, man. Like,
it was fun.
I wish I would have been able to watch that one, man. That sounds like a great fight. Just finding 2 dudes that are down to bang. And honestly, bro, like, some people here gets dropped 3 times as a bad thing, and I hear that as a good thing, because if you were a bitch, you wouldn't have got up after the first or second time. You know what I'm saying? Like I hear it gets dropped 3 times, and I think I see, you need a wheelbarrow for your stones.
Man, I actually I wear a mouthpiece that says "bitch please" on it, and I wear it because I think it's funny. When I get dropped, I just smile, and I was that night. I was coming forward on the last time he knocked me down. I was coming forward, and he just he was a southpaw, and he stuck a straight left just square in my mouth. Uh-huh. And it just like sat me down, and I just got up and I was laughing, and the ref was like, "Are you okay?" And I was laughing. I was like, "Yeah, man, I'm good. Like, it's all good."
Yeah, certain guys just have that in them. Like, I have my other podcast, Beefy Boys, and I've been watching pretty much every UFC fight for like the past 6 months, and like, certain guys just have that little factor about them that the pain kind of it doesn't bother them, or if anything, it kind of gives them a little bit of extra juice. You see that, like that's just something that really can't be coached. You either got it or you don't.
Man, you do too, and it can come and go. Like my last fight, like I said, I fought that dork from Florida, and he ended up beating me in a 5-round decision. But I took that fight on the second time I fought that guy. I fought the same guy twice in 6 weeks, and the second time I fought him, he caught me with something in the first round, and all I remember is waking up late in the second round and looking up and the ref stopping it, and I looked down and my nose was gushing everywhere, and he had broke my nose, and I was all the way unconscious.
Wow.
And so I took another title fight in 2 weeks after that with a broken nose and a concussion. And so I fought that dork on when I shouldn't have fought him in the first place, but it was a title fight. And so I was real hesitant to pull the trigger because I was like, oh, man, if this dude touches my nose, it's going to suck, you know?
Yeah. And that totally changes everything.
Yeah. But so it's all about confidence, you know. If I'm feeling good and you know, if I know I have a big part for me is if I know I can go in there and not get tired, then I'll fight a lot better than. So it's all about the work you put in, you know, before the fight.
Yeah.
But
let me ask you this, man. I feel like it's a question probably everybody who's never fought, that's watched a fight, has been wanting to ask a fighter. So this is their opportunity to get an answer. Like when you're in the cage, man, and you're getting punched. Now, granted, you're healthy. Not like the scenario you have a busted nose already, but say you're feeling good going into a fight, and like are you? How much pain are you actually feeling, and how much is the adrenaline taking over? Like just kind of talk, because that's something, you know, your average Joe out there that's probably listening will never ever be able to understand or experience for themselves. So that's a question I know I've always wondered. And how much of the pain are you actually feeling real time? I know you feel it afterwards, but real time in the octagon, how you feeling?
man, you really feel very little of it. It's pretty crazy. Like there's certain punches, you know, if you get hit in the nose, your eyes are watering regardless of in the fight or whatever. It hurts a lot less in a fight than in sparring. But your eyes are still going to water. You know, if you get hit, like I've had dudes hit me and like peel my eyelid back, and it's still hard to see in a fight. You know, your eyes still water. If you take a solid leg kick, it's still not comfortable. But you're kind of like, oh, you know, shit, that hurt. Like rather than like trying to take a break or whatever, like you might in sparring, which hopefully you wouldn't do that. But
man, I gotta as a taller fighter, I gotta imagine you're probably dishing out more leg kicks than you're taking. Or have you ever fought a guy that's just had your number on the leg kick game?
Man, not really. That guy that came up from 155 to fight me, he caught me with a really solid leg kick. I kind of knew that he was more of a pressure fighter, and so I knew he was going to come out pretty hard in the first round. And I was trying to kind of like establish my range, kind of using, you know, my teep or push kick and keep a range. And he threw a real hard leg kick, and it didn't buckle my knee, but I definitely felt it. Yeah. And kind of when he was exiting, I caught him with a right cross or a right hook, and it stumbled him. And after that, he didn't really want too much of that. He never really came back into his range. But no, I've never fought anybody. I've been calf kicked a couple times that really sucked. But no one's really just beat up my legs. It's hard for shorter guys to get into my range. So
that's what I figured. Man, so you touched on it earlier. You fight at 170 typically, when you can find somebody who actually fight you at that weight class. What do you walk around at? I think that's something else your average Joe out there doesn't really understand, the whole weight cutting process and what guys walk around at versus what they fight at. And I just kind of want to, I mean, it's something that I'm very curious about, and I'm sure a lot of my listeners and viewers are. Just kind of get into that. What do you walk around at for you to fight at 170, and then kind of maybe get into some of the weight cutting process?
Man, I'm kind of a fat ass. I like to eat. And so
I've been seeing your wife be cooking up the meals, bro.
Man, yeah, I like to cook too, and so I don't always eat the best in between fights. If I know I don't have anything scheduled, I kind of just eat what I want.
You buckled down in fight camp. You're one of those guys.
Definitely.
Yeah, that's cool. There's nothing wrong with that.
I'll still train hard, but my diet is kind of slacks. I'm a plumber as my full-time job, so I ride around in a plumbing van. I eat a lot of gas station food and stuff like that on a normal day.
Yeah. Comes with the
Um,
territory, man.
yeah,
But
but
that's cool, man.
generally,
You got a solid way to pay your bills, man. A lot of fighters, that's kind of the only skill they're bringing to the table, and it gets hard for them. So I always like to see my guys eat regardless.
yeah, man, it's tough, especially as an amateur fighter or a lower level pro when you're making a few $100 to a few
Yeah, man.
$1,000. You can't here at the gym we've got Jimmy Flick, and even man, he's got a full-time job still. He just signed with the UFC. He's still got a full-time job.
Man, fucking old boy that just knocked out Kasangane. His name's evading me right now, but on this last UFC card, they got the viral spinning kick that's going around.
Yeah.
He was in an interview with Ariel Helwani, and he was talking about literally the day before that fight. He didn't know if he was going to keep fighting because he didn't know if it was like a viable career. He had a newborn baby, and he said if it wasn't for that spinning kick and going viral and the 200 G's from Dana, that potentially may have been his last fight. So it's easily to understand the struggle on the local circuit if he's on the UFC, the biggest stage, and still feeling that way.
Yeah, man, it's tough. There's what's old girl's name that just beat Sarah Alpar from
Calvillo.
Yeah.
Yeah. She's badass.
Yeah, she she tweeted out that before that fight she had $17 in her bank account. It's
Yeah.
I know a lot of fighters that have lived at the gym, slept on the ring. It's a tough sport to make it, and everyone thinks that everyone's Conor McGregor. Everyone's fighting for $1 million.
Exactly.
And
Even
especially
big
Muay
name
Thai.
people, bro. Like, goddamn it, like guys like Derek Brunson and Kevin Holland and just those journeyman guys that never got that money fight. You know what I'm saying? It is. It's a tough life out there for a fighter.
Yeah, even Jorge Masvidal before he, really came back and made his name big. Even he didn't know if he was going to fight again. His money wasn't right. He took a break off and went to whatever,
I mean, it takes one fucking lump sum to be able to quit your job. I mean, you know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
A little bit here and there. I mean, that would be irresponsible on your part as a father to quit your job. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
You really do kind of need that big break. I feel it, man. I feel it. I'm trying to turn this podcasting thing into a full-time gig for me, and I'm not getting hit in the face, but I feel it. It's a different way to make a living, that's for sure. It's not an hourly wage.
For sure.
Man, so I got to be real. Like for everybody watching, listening, me and Jay went to school together. I think were you 1 or 2 grades younger than me?
I graduated in 13. Yeah.
Okay, yeah, I was class of 12. So me and Jay went to school together back in Norman, Oklahoma. And back then, I knew you more as a basketball player, just tall ass.
Yeah.
So I got to ask, when did you get into fighting? When did you discover it? What made you want to start? All that.
Man, so I ended up going to, my senior year of high school. My junior year, I broke my foot and sat out most of the basketball season with a broken foot. I broke the only one of 2 bones in your body that doesn't heal itself. So I had to go through a bunch of therapy and stuff, and I sat out the whole year for that. My senior year, I was playing really well. We went to a tournament, and I was MVP of the tournament. I was putting up, 20 a game, and I ended up breaking my back.
Oh,
and
yeah, because I gotta say, bro, like you always was hooping, like always, like you put effort into that shit. I mean, like football team would be like seeing y'all, we cross paths in between workouts and shit, and I'd always see you hooping, man. So you've always had that kind of self-drive. I think that's fair to say.
Yeah, man, and I ended up signing with an NAIA school in Tennessee. So I went out there for my freshman year, and I was in the gym. Do I?
To hoop? For basketball?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I went out there to play, and I was in the gym one night, and there were some clowns on the other side of the floor just messing around, and my girlfriend was in there at the time, was sitting in there, and I was chasing after a ball, and I looked back to talk to her, and these dweebs on the other side of the floor didn't tell me that their ball was rolling my way, and I stepped on their ball, and I tore 3 ligaments in my ankle and all sorts of
Oh
stuff.
my
And,
God.
yeah, and so that was my third year
Jesus.
in a row getting hurt playing basketball. So I
Oh.
left after my freshman year, which sucks. I never even stepped foot on the floor. I was a redshirt. I was
Yeah.
redshirt already from hurting my back, and so I never even stepped on the college floor. And so I took a year off. I got in the horse business. That's kind of what I've done my whole life. Got in the horse business, ended up joining the Marine Corps. I came back from the Marine Corps and ended up meeting a different girl, got married, and started rodeoing. And
God damn, bro. You're fucking. We need to get you connected with a goddamn documentary person or a
man,
biography writer or something, dog. We're fucking 20 minutes into this podcast. I'm on the edge of my seat, bro. This is amazing.
man, yeah, I started rodeoing. I was fighting bulls, and I was just getting. I was not the best bullfighter in the world, so I was getting just tore up all the time.
God
Uh,
damn.
and yeah, I hurt my shoulder pretty bad. I got run over pretty good one time, and I fought bulls for a little bit longer. And then my wife at the time was a professional barrel racer, and so I kind of quit fighting bulls and started following her around. I ended up getting a job on the railroad, and which is a good paying job. And
Okay.
yeah, and but I
It's like
started
a
getting,
Mark Twain novel, dog.
man, yeah, I've been around, bro. I've been around.
Yeah, man, for a youngin' too, man. I love it, man. That's why whenever older cats try to, throw the age card on somebody like me and you that's been around the block, it's like, dog, I probably lived more in my 26 years than you have in your 40.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
And
man. But sorry to keep distracting you. I'm just like
no, you're good.
fucking
You're
my
good.
mind's blowing right now. This is awesome, brother. So yeah, you're working on the railroad.
Man, I just started to get a little chunky, and
Big
coming
boy.
from playing college basketball and whatnot, I'd never been chunky. I used to walk around at like when I got out of boot camp, I was like 155 pounds,
Oh
and
shit.
yeah, I mean boot camp sucks, but
Yeah.
but I was lean. I was probably like I don't know 4 or 5% body fat then. Like I was tiny,
Yeah, that's
and
nothing.
yeah, and so I didn't like how I looked, and I didn't know what to do, so I started lifting real heavy, and I was like, man, maybe I should try to like I don't know, be a bodybuilder or something, and like then I realized that I'm 6'5", 170 pounds,
Yeah,
and
that's hard to squat. It's hard to get thick with that body frame.
yeah, exactly, and so
I got the exact opposite problem, dog. I'm 5'10", so I get thick with no problem at all.
man, it's give and take on that one, but I I was living in Muskogee or near Muskogee, and I told my wife at the time, I was like, I'm just gonna go into this gym. There's a place called Fusion Boxing. I didn't know anything about it. Never thrown a real punch other than like a street
Really?
fight in my life.
You just
Didn't know
went in
anything.
there.
And I went in. I met this guy by the name of Ty Pilgrim, and he he this gigantic German guy, bald German dude, and crazy guy. I mean, he's crazy.
Sounds
Didn't have.
intimidating already.
Oh man, he's so intimidating. And I didn't know anything about him, who he was. I just knew it was a gym, and I was like, yeah, this boxing thing sounds cool. Like, I'll come in here and get in shape. So I go in there for a couple weeks, and he came up to me and he was like, hey, you're more athletic than, the normal person that comes through this gym. Have you ever thought about
Definitely.
fighting? And I was like, man, I don't know. Like, it'd be cool to, to have a fight someday or whatever. A little just to have some fun. And he was like, well, do you want to be a boxer or do you want to be an MMA fighter? And he's like, because if it's not fun for you, then there's no point. And so I was like, oh yeah, the UFC. I want to be a UFC fighter. Like, yeah, for sure. And he was like, all right. And so I went to this place called Trinity Martial Arts for like I don't know a tryout type deal, I guess. And I ended up, they were thought I was okay. So he said,
Potential. You have potential.
yeah. So he was like, man, if you're gonna be an MMA fighter, you got to learn Muay Thai. And man, I'm talking like at the time I didn't even know how to spell Muay Thai. Like
Yeah.
spelling like telling people that I was training Muay Thai, like shit like that. And I had no idea what it was.
Drink.
And I was like, man, I just want to, I just want to be like learn some boxing, learn some jiu-jitsu, and you know, we'll go from there. And he's like, no, man, I'm telling you, like, you gotta learn Muay Thai. Well, it turns out that this guy Ty Pilgrim was like a world renowned coach, and so I didn't know that, and he's actually the I don't know if you know who Art Davie is, but Art Davie is one of the guys that's had a huge part in starting the UFC. He basically like he more or less made MMA, which then turned into the UFC. And there's a book about a biography about him, and in the front of the book there's all these people that like have quotes or whatever, or you know, have little something to say about Art Davie, and Ty was one of those people in that book.
Oh wow!
Yeah, and so he's a big deal. He was in the German military for like 20-something years, and he would come back from a deployment and he would spend all of his off time in Thailand training. And
what a bad motherfucker!
Man, he is, bro. He's like 300 pounds. Kicking him is like kicking a pole. Like, it's insane.
My God.
And so I started learning Muay Thai, and I fell in love with it, man. It's I was like, man, forget this MMA thing. Like, I just want to fight Muay Thai, you know?
Oh, really? Wow.
Yeah, man. Muay Thai is it's a whole different ball game. It's like MMA is cool, but Muay Thai is savagery. It's badass.
So would you say that you essentially like prefer Muay Thai to MMA?
Oh, I'm 100% a Thai boxer. 100%.
That's what's
yeah.
up, man. That's really cool. I think not a lot of people out there would probably expect that. I think that's really interesting. But yeah, keep going, bro.
And so I started slowly just working my way into it. And about 2 months into training Muay Thai, he had this poster on his wall, and it was for the it's called the Muay Thai World Expo. And it's in Des Moines, Iowa every year, and there's like 850 fighters that come every year. And
in Des Moines, that's so random. I thought you were going to say Thailand. Like, I thought the next words out of your mouth were going to be like such and such Thailand, not Des Moines, Iowa.
Man, there's this guy that came from Thailand. So in Muay Thai, you have a what's called a crew, and a crew is a teacher that's like basically a coach, and then you have an arjan, which is basically like you have to be like sanctioned by the Thai authority to be an arjan, and they have to they sign off on all of it, so it's a big deal. There's a guy named Arjan Chai, and he's the one that brought Muay Thai to America, and he puts on he's
like
one of the
80s?
ones.
When was that? Do you know?
Man, I don't know.
Back in the day.
Yeah, fairly recently. I mean, 80s, 90s probably.
Okay.
Muay Thai is still small in America. I mean, it's getting a lot bigger, thank God, but it's still relatively unknown in America. Because if it was, it would be, if people knew what Muay Thai was, it would be a huge deal in America. But people just don't really know much about it.
I've always felt the same way about rugby. Like, I always felt like if everybody knew what the fuck was going on, they'd love this shit. But yeah, definitely, bro. Definitely keep going, bro. My bad.
So Arzan Chai got with some guys that are, I think he trained them, but they ended up putting on this tournament. In their first year, they had like 8 people, and then it's grown to where now it's the biggest tournament in the world.
Oh shit.
Yeah, so 2 months into training, he like pointed at this poster and he's like, "That's your first fight." And I was like,
"Really?"
Yeah, I was like, "What?"
Oh, this is dope.
Yeah, so that was in maybe February or March of 2017 or 18. And no, 17.
So you were like
17.
what, like 23, 22? You
23,
like
yeah.
23, wow.
Yeah, I just turned 23 and so he was like, "Yeah, you're gonna fight in that." So the way that they do their stuff is there's not like you don't fight at a weight, you have a weight bracket since it's a tournament. And he's so old school and like he's such a savage, man, that he was like, "Well, you're a big guy, so eventually you're gonna be a heavyweight, so you're just gonna fight heavy." He's like, he was like, "You're not gonna cut weight, you're just gonna fight heavy." Yeah, so my bracket was like. Yeah, it's crazy.
Sorry, everybody, I'm laughing so hard because if anybody's ever met Jay Finley, like even he calls himself fat, whatever, he's still a tall, thin guy. Like just that's your build is tall and thin.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
for me, that's like somebody telling Izzy Adesanya to fight heavyweight.
exactly. Yeah, my bracket was 195 to like 204, and
Okay.
the day of the weigh-ins, man, we drove to Des Moines, and I stepped on a scale and I was 2.5 pounds under, and I was like, bro, Ty, this is a problem, man. Like, I'm not gonna be able to fight. They won't let me. And he was like, we'll fix that. And so we stopped at Burger King and Dairy Queen on the way to weigh-ins. Yeah, and I just ate the entire way. Ended up weighing in at like, I don't know, like 196.5. And
Literally
like
ate
no one,
like 4 pounds of Burger King.
yeah, no one knew that I was just bloated as shit getting on the scales. Like everyone else was cutting weight. So
That's like the exact opposite of every other MMA experience ever.
yeah, dude. So I had my first fight, and I ended up in a bracket to where to win the tournament, I was gonna have to win 4 fights in 2 days, and in 2 days, and no, 3 days. It was Friday, Saturday, Sunday. So this is the craziest thing, man. I'm getting ready for my first fight, and I'm nervous. I don't know who this dude is I'm about to fight. I know he's way bigger than me. He cut a bunch of weight to hit 204. And yeah, he's this little Mexican kid I say little, he's a big Mexican guy from Fort Smith, Arkansas. And I'm sitting there and I start warming up and I look to my left and they have like one convention center in this hotel that has 4 rings and they just run through fights. There's 300 fights in a day. And so they just like,
what?
yeah, so they just run through these fights, man. Like they call you up to get your gloves and then you start warming up and then they call your number and then you're on deck. So you go sit and watch the fight before you and then you fight. And it's just all day, a rotation. And
what are the like rounds? Like what's like the format for Muay Thai? Is it what how many rounds? How long are the rounds?
So amateur Muay Thai is 2-minute rounds, 3 twos, unless you're a championship fight, and then it's 5. And then
okay.
professional and some like not tournament style, but some actual promotions will be 3-minute rounds. So it's basically kickboxing rules as far as the time and stuff goes.
But yeah, I see how 3 twos. You could rattle off a lot of 3 twos.
Yeah. And all your tournaments are in well, unless you're an experienced fighter, but your like lower level tournaments are all with headgear and shin guards, so you take a little bit of abuse off. But man, I was sitting there in this like little convention center, get my gloves, get my shin guards on and all that stuff, and I look to the left, and the dude that I'm fighting is sitting in a chair next to me, watching me hit pads, warming up, and I was like, man, this is so weird. And so like I didn't know if I should like hit pads real shitty so he didn't think I was good, or like what to do, or like crack the shit out of him because like try to scare him or what. I never saw this dude warm up. I just saw him stare at me and watch me warm up the whole time.
That's
so he went out and I beat that guy. I broke 3 of that dude's ribs. And and beat him. And I was like, hell yeah, I'm good till good till Saturday. And they're like, no, you're not. You fight again in like 3 hours. And I was like, what the fuck? And
it's like the worst amount of time too, because it's like you totally cool down. Like you can't really like get no recovery in. It's like the worst of both worlds.
Yeah.
Like more time you could have got recovery, and less time you can kind of keep yourself warm. But like that's like that wackest scenario.
Yeah, man. Yeah, and I ended up fighting a pretty good second fight too, so I won both fights that day. And so I went to the semifinals on Saturday, and I fought this cat named Cooper Hayes, CJ Hayes, and he fights in LFA now.
Oh, dope.
And he just knocked a cat out in 13 seconds in LFA. This cat came out and wouldn't touch gloves with him, so he shrugged and just one-punched this dude. And he's a savage, man. He's a savage.
I'm gonna have to get me Fight Pass pretty soon. I want to start watching some LFA fights for sure.
Man, it's high level. It's high level stuff.
Without a doubt, man. But yeah. Sorry, keep going.
Oh, you're good. And so he was a lot shorter than me, but dude's built like a brick shit house, man. His shoulders are like as wide as 2 of me, and so I was nervous as hell. I was like, man, I bet this dude hits so hard. And come to find out after the fight, we were talking. He was like, "No, I was nervous because you're so tall, man." He's like, "I thought you were gonna whoop my ass." But I thought I could keep him, like push him and keep him out. So I stuck my left arm out, and he hit me with a giant overhand right. And
Shit.
I wore my bitch please mouthpiece, so I smiled at him, and I took a step, and my whole legs just wobbled. And so he ended up beating me in the in like 46 seconds. He knocked me out. But
wow. Is
yeah,
it
man.
like a boxing knockout where like they give you a 10 count, or how does it work in Muay Thai?
So you get an 8 count.
8 count. Oh wow, that's hard. Yeah.
So I wobbled.
Essentially, a drop is a knockout because it's hard to recover from 8
Yeah.
seconds.
Yeah.
I feel it.
I got my 8 count, and he was like, "Are you good?" And I was like, "Yeah, I'm good." And I walked out, and I was not good. And I walked out with my hands down, and he just got a free one. And,
oh shit.
Yeah. I'll send you the video of it later. It's pretty funny.
Okay. All right.
But yeah, so that was my first experience with Muay Thai, and for some dumbass reason, I was like, "Yeah, that was fun as hell." And
No, that sounds cool, man. From the story. Now, let me ask you this, bro. Just because I don't know. I have a very rudimentary understanding of Muay Thai, like probably more than your average Joe, but less than anybody that actually knows anything about Muay Thai. So
Right.
I find myself in like an interesting scenario there. But so my understanding of Muay Thai, it's like you can knee, you can elbow, and you can clinch, and I don't know, like that's about as far as my description goes. Just kind of iron out some of those details for me. Like how would you describe the sport of Muay Thai, in your words?
So the way that my first coach Ty, explained it to me, he said, Muay Thai is a gentleman's agreement to stand in the middle of the ring and beat the shit out of each other.
And bang, yeah.
Yeah.
It's not like because kickboxing is more known for keeping the distance.
Yeah.
And we all know what boxing's turned into. So,
Right.
So yeah. So Muay Thai, you're right. It's very aggressive, very direct, very no bullshit.
Yeah, it's a very specific and distinct style. Like, it's very rhythmic. In Thailand, you won't see it a lot in America because it turns people off from the sport. But in Thailand, they march and they play this Thai music the whole time, and they basically march to that music. And so everything's like very, it's very rhythmic. It's if you really like watch
music during the fight, and then the fight goes to the tempo of the music.
Yeah.
Wow, I never knew. That's very interesting because, like, me watching so much MMA lately, you always hear the word rhythm and like how guys like Corey Sandhagen have an awkward rhythm and like things like that. And so Muay Thai kind of eliminates that, and they kind of give you a rhythm.
Yeah, exactly. And okay. They trying to put my phone in a better spot here. So they there we go. So they like play all this music and everything. It's different because everything in Muay Thai is, I say everything, kind of speaking generally here, but a lot of it, you don't see these like 9-piece combinations like you do in boxing or dudes in MMA throw 50 punches when the dude's backing up. If you're backing up in Muay Thai, you're losing. Period. I mean, there's no backing up.
Like that's how it's judged, like on the scorecard.
Yeah. If you're backing up, you're losing. If you're against the ropes, you're losing. There is no there's no defensive Thai fighting. It's all offense all the time. And it's savage, man. And it's there's sweeps, dumps, trips, throws. Pretty much the only thing you can't do.
I had no idea. So there is because I knew about the Thai clinch, obviously, because you hear it a million times every UFC card. But so there is essentially a level of grappling to Muay Thai as well, as far as more of like a judo type of throws and tosses.
It's a different type of throw. Like you can't hook a leg. So it's
okay. It's all upper body.
Yeah, well, it's all sweep, so it's like off balance and sweeping their legs.
Okay.
And if you catch a kick, you can sweep. You can dump like in a clinch. If you catch a knee, you can dump. That kind of stuff. But it's not.
Explain dump a little more.
So, like if you're in the clinch and someone knees and you can hook their knee from under.
Oh, and then carry it over into a takedown.
sweep their other leg out from under them.
Oh,
So it's different from like a judo to where you like grab and like hook a leg and throw them over your leg. It's all
yeah.
it's all based on like their momentum basically.
Okay. That's really
Which
interesting, man. Yeah, I never knew that much about Muay Thai. Like, I knew you could knee, I knew you could elbow, and I knew you could clinch, but that was about all I knew about it.
yeah, and watching MMA and them calling a Thai clinch or he's a great Thai boxer or whatever, is not a good representation of real Muay Thai. Because
Okay.
there's not one person in the UFC that I could like really pinpoint and be like, that's a good Muay Thai fighter.
Well, I think
Like
the women are better examples, right? Like
they are.
Durandame. And then what's that old girl, the Korean girl? It's like Jimsoo Kumi or some shit. She just fought like 2 cards ago, and her Muay Thai elbows were exquisite. And her name's escaping me right now, but
Yeah,
she was like
it's
a
just
9-time Muay Thai champion as well.
and oh god,
Strawweight. I'm slipping. I forget her name,
but Joanna is a pretty good Thai boxer. She was originally a Thai boxer.
okay.
Valentina Shevchenko is a
Yeah.
pretty good Thai
Yeah,
boxer.
it seems to be more prevalent in the women's
Yeah,
MMA.
it does.
Actually, better
It,
Muay Thai in the women's ranks.
there's which I'm not saying that there's not good women wrestlers, but wrestling is less. There's not your Henry Cejudos and your John Jones and your
Good
uh,
point. Good point.
and your guys like that are just gonna smash you on the ground and all that.
Good point.
And there's really nobody that's like um, Damian Maya. There's
Yeah.
very few of those people that are just like so heavy on the ground. And so you get a lot more of those. Muay Thai works a lot better against some of those people because if people are like, oh, if a Muay Thai fighter goes to MMA, he's gonna get fucked up. And well, maybe.
I think it just
I mean,
depends on
yeah,
the matchup.
it's
Like, yeah, if you're fighting Khabib, but yeah, if you're fighting a striker, like, yeah, I've
yeah,
seen Muay Thai be very effective.
yeah. I mean, if I go fight, I mean, well, anyone in the UFC, but if I went and fought, some wrestler in MMA, of course I'm gonna get fucked up because I don't know
Yeah, because you
wrestling,
didn't even wrestle in high school, did you?
no, hell no. And
That's
so
wild. For a long time, I kind of like convinced myself you did just because you were skinny and you fight now.
no, man, no, I have very I've still never even done jujitsu. I've
Really?
the only thing I've done on the ground is called lucha libre, and so lucha libre is traditionally there's no such thing as no gi jujitsu. Um,
Okay,
in
yeah, yeah.
in Brazil, if you were rich and you could afford a gi, you did jujitsu. If you were kind of like from the slums and you couldn't afford a gi, you did no gi, and it was lucha libre. And
Oh, I had no idea that was the origin.
yeah, and lucha libre is there's no it's not point based like a lot of these jiu-jitsu tournaments are. It's all submission based.
Oh, okay.
So that was
So,
that my old coach Ty was got his black belt in lucha libre also. He was a
really?
striking coach for a team in Brazil for a good while. And while he was there, he was like, fuck it, I might as well get a black belt in lucha libre, and so he did. But
No,
but
that's
yeah,
interesting, man. Yeah, I'd never heard of that discipline before. Well, yeah, I was gonna ask where you got your nickname Muay Thai Cowboy because mind you, phenomenal nickname, bro, and I judge the nicknames like harshly. Like I always bring him into the Beefy Boy breakdown. Like if there's a nickname I like, and I gotta say, bro, if we were breaking you down, I would go on and on about Muay Thai Cowboy. That's a ridiculously good nickname. But you pretty much already described the origin of it. I mean, you love Muay Thai, you practice Muay Thai primarily, and you also worked in the horse game, real cowboy. So you were in rodeos. So yeah,
man,
ain't no faking the funk.
what's funny about that nickname is that coach Ty Pilgrim. He came from growing up in Germany. He always wanted to be a cowboy. Like you'd watch John Wayne movies and stuff, and he always wanted to be a cowboy. He grew up in this place called Ruppert, and it's very like industrial, like middle class, working class place in Germany, and a lot of factories and everything. And he always wanted to come to America and be a cowboy. So he moved to.
Wow.
He ended up he was working he was working security for like the treasurer of the Republican Party or some crazy nonsense like that in Florida, and he met this girl on uh, on an airplane and ended up marrying her.
Oh wow.
And yeah, so they're still married, and he moved to Oklahoma with her, and he moved out to this little place and bought him some land. So he went on this podcast, and they called him. They were like, "We're here with Ty Pilgrim, the Muay Thai Cowboy." And
Oh
he thought that
shit.
shit was dope. And so I heard it in the gym. I was watching the podcast, and I like texted him, and I was like, "Ty, I'm stealing that nickname." And he was like, "What?" And I was like, "That's my nickname now." And he was like, "That's my nickname." And I said, "Not anymore." And he was like, "Whatever." And so he just went with it, and
No, it's
that's what
great,
that's,
bro.
that's what it was.
No, I love it, bro. I'm all about the nicknames. Like, I feel like it can make or break a fighter as far as like marketing goes. Like, one of my
Yeah,
favorite right now is old girl. I forget her full name, but the Queen of Violence, Lipsky. Lipsky,
yeah,
the Queen of Violence. I love that nickname. I'm super on
yeah.
board with it. I don't know. Dan 50K E-Game. I thought that was pretty fucking clean. Um,
The gorilla. I love Darren Till, man.
Oh yeah, yeah, Darren Till. I love Darren Till because he's so game. Like I love fighters
Man,
that are game and don't turn it into politics and don't turn it. Because on one hand, I understand the business of being selective with your fights, and I get that. But as a fan perspective, it's so refreshing just to see fighters that are just like fucking throw somebody in here with me and we'll get it.
yeah. Mike Perry, man. I love Mike. I mean, Mike Perry's a weird guy, but
Piece of
but that
work, but in the cage.
he'll bang, that's for sure.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
that's what
definitely.
I like about, like, like McGregor is I mean, obviously not so much now because he's, I mean, if I got a net worth of $150 million, I'm probably gonna pick my fights too.
Yeah, yeah.
But coming up, it was anybody and everybody, and
Man, I fucking hope they can get that McGregor Poirier fight worked out. I think that would be so phenomenal. I love everything about it. I really do because I'm a big Poirier fan, big McGregor fan. I mean, I love because I mean Poirier, it's kind of a super fight, but not really. Like if Conor really wanted to politic and play wishy washy and all that, he could hold out for some weird big thing. But the fact
yeah,
that he's willing to kind of fight a guy like Poirier, I mean, I know he just fought Cowboy, but I don't know. You know what I'm saying? I just like everything about it. I fucking really hope Dana can make that work.
I saw something today that that Dana offered him like late January or something like that for that fight. He said he couldn't get it done because of the UFC's current schedule, but offered
Yeah,
like
yeah.
January 23rd or something like that.
No, I feel it because that does need to be a main event. You can't have
Yeah,
Connor and Poirier as a co-main. So
yeah,
I
yeah,
feel that, and you can't really bump anybody. You're not going to put them on a fight night. It has to be a pay-per-view. You're
yeah,
not
yeah.
going to bump Khabib Gagey. I get it.
No,
I get the business side of it. I do.
yeah.
So I don't know. That kind of transitions in. Like right now, I mean, to me, this question, my answer changes to this every fucking 3 months. I'm one of those guys. But who's your favorite fighter, bro?
Man, so my favorite fighter right now is actually a dude named Dave LeDuc,
David
and
LeDuc. Is he in the UFC?
he is not. So Dave
Okay.
LeDuc is a guy. He's Canadian. He's French Canadian, and he started out as a grappler, exclusively a grappler, and he started getting into Muay Thai, and so he was going and he was fighting these Muay Thai fights, and in Thailand, Muay Thai is all about betting. So they,
Yeah, yeah.
the traditionally the first round of Muay Thai is like they go not soft, but they go back and forth so people can place their bets, and that's how those fighters make their
Really?
money too. Yeah, and
Really? They get a cut of the bet action?
I'm not exactly sure how it all works. I've never been,
Yeah, yeah,
but they
yeah.
say like the first round is just back and forth, and then in the second and third they're like, all right, now it's like time to bang, and so then
Seems
it's
like
just
there's a
six.
lot of like gentlemen's agreements in Muay Thai, like kind of like baseball, like some unwritten rules.
There is, man. It's just a completely different sport, which I think is one of the reasons why it's hasn't transitioned to America the same as like MMA. Like you very rarely see anyone in Muay Thai like beefing like McGregor and
Yeah, yeah, it's
Khabib
hard
or
to
something
show
like that.
respect.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
all about respect, and which I think is why I kind of gravitated towards it. Uh, but yeah, man. So Dave LeDuc, he went to Thailand and he was like knocking people out in the first round, and so they were like, "Yo, we can't have you doing this," and he was like, "I'm just fighting, man," and they were like, "Yeah, no, like we don't have fights for you anymore." So he went.
What?
Yes, he heard about this sport called Lethwei, and have you ever heard of Lethwei?
Hell no.
Oh
What
my
is
God,
that? What the
man,
fuck?
Lethwei is the coolest sport in the entire world. So
What?
Lethwei is it's similar to Muay Thai, kinda, sort of, is like the closest thing to relate it to, but it's all bare knuckle. There's headbutts. You can kick
Oh
people on their way
shit.
down. If you get knocked out, if you get knocked unconscious, you've got 2 minutes to recover and keep fighting. It's
Two
knockouts.
minutes?
Yeah, it's
Jesus.
knockout only. There's
Is
like a
there
time.
rounds?
Yeah, there's rounds and there's but you don't win unless you knock somebody out. And so there's like Dave LeDuc's like,
What?
yeah, he's got like as many draws as he has as he has wins, just
Yeah,
from the simple
that
fact
that
of not
that
knocking
sport kind of
somebody
lends
out.
exactly. That sport kind of
Yeah.
lends itself to a lot of draws.
Yeah.
Um,
So he went that it's from Burma. It's a Burmese sport. And
really? Okay.
so he went over
I know
there and they
more
have
about Burma's pythons than their sports.
yeah, yeah, exactly, right. And so he went over there to Burma and he to Myanmar and
Yeah,
they
yeah.
have this thing where you go and you fight in their prisons. Like it'd be like going to like I don't know, like
What?
what's the big one out there in California, big prison. Um,
Um, San Quentin.
yeah, it'd be like going to
Yeah,
San
yeah.
Quentin and then being
Uh,
like, okay, we've got this. His like first fight was
this
against
sounds
this
like a
guy.
bad '80s movie, bro.
Dude, I know. He went there and he fought this guy. Um, I can't remember if that's where he fought Tutu or not. I think that's where he did. But if I'm right, he fought this guy named Tutu, and just TUTU. And he this dude was there for like meth, like selling meth, like being a meth kingpin or whatever. And these guys that are in prison, if they win fights, they get time off their sentences. And but you
What?
fight them in the prison, bro, in the prison. And so
Jesus
yeah,
Christ.
yeah, he went and he worked the prison circuit, and then he ended up fighting this guy named like his name is Tutu Min, and he fought him after he kind of like got out of the little prison circuit. He fought him, and they only have like he fights open weight, so it's not heavyweight. It's just like there's weight classes, and then once you hit like 170, I think is the last weight class, and then it's just open weight. And
Damn.
so he's the open weight champion, the champion of the world. And
Like, was this recently or is this like back in the day?
no, he's still fighting. He's fighting a guy named Cyrus Washington in I think January or December or something like that.
In the
Um,
prison circuit? Or
no, he's actually they're having the first ever Lethwei fight in America, and so it'll be
so
it's gonna be.
do you think that he just has no interest in the UFC or the UFC has no interest in him or do you
So
think there's politics? What's going on there? Like, is it like what? I don't know. This is so interesting to me.
he has a couple MMA fights, and they call him the King of Lethwei. And so he married this girl from Russia, and when he married this girl, it was on like national TV in Burma, and like he's a star there. Like
Over
everyone
there,
hated him. Yeah,
yeah,
everyone
yeah.
hated him, and then they realized like he did all the like Burmese traditions. Like he's got these like leg tattoos that are basically you know how like the Maoris like tattoo their faces and shit and
Yeah, yeah,
tribal.
yeah.
It's similar to that, but it's from like their waist to their knees, and it's
That's
got like
tight.
how much it's got. I don't know exactly what it means, but it's like something about all the
Yeah,
fights
it's
they've
their
had. And,
culture. Yeah, yeah.
yeah, and so he's got his whole legs tattooed, and he's like very traditional about his Lethwei, and
How old is he?
I think he's in his 30s, like mid 30s, but he's a savage, man. Like he's
He's just
insane.
not about that Hollywood life. Like he's
No, he
not
just
chasing the lights. He's just chasing the fights.
he's talked about coming to the UFC. I don't
Yeah,
know if
man.
it'll
I'm
ever
just so
happen,
intrigued.
but he'd be a problem, man. He'd be a problem for anyone because, like I said, he started out as a grappler.
It's like running through
Yeah.
all those
circuits and everything. So, I mean,
What if he was in the UFC? What weight class do you think he'd fight at?
maybe 85 or 70. I'm not really sure.
Yeah, one of those weight classes.
Yeah, he's built a lot like me, which I think is why I like him so much.
Okay, yeah, for sure.
He's about my height, and he's a little more muscular than I am, but he's kind of a weird dude, man. He's vegan, and he just talks a bunch of shit to everybody, like everybody. He'll call out everybody and be like, "But you won't fight me in Lethwei." And he like has videos of him like headbutting pads, like headbutting heavy bags, and I mean it's insane. That sport is wild, and I will for sure have a Lethwei fight before I retire. I don't know when or where, but I will have one. And,
okay, no, that's super dope goal, bro.
All right, we're going to keep it going here with episode 19 of Dreadful Talk. Loving this week's guest, Jay Finley, MMA fighter. You know, we've gotten into, you know, how he's got his nickname, how he got into the sport. You know, he's broken down some of the intricacies of Muay Thai and Lethwei. So let's get him back on here.
Hey, man, thanks for coming back, brother.
For sure.
Yeah, man. So yeah, thank you for your time, man. So on the last hour, we didn't really get into any really that much of your military, you know, you being a Marine and all that. And I definitely wanted to get into that. I just didn't want to have to rush it or anything, so I wanted to save it for this fresh hour. So first off, I keep saying former Marine. Is that like disrespectful? Because I know y'all be on that like once a Marine, always Marine shit. I don't want to be disrespectful. I just don't know how to like phrase it.
Man, I don't really care.
Yeah, for sure. You didn't strike me as the kind of guy that did, but you know, I just didn't want to inadvertently, disrespect. But yeah, man, definitely wanted to touch on your military career a little bit. So how old were you when you enlisted?
I was 19 when I enlisted.
That's old man by Marine standards, huh?
Man, yeah. Yeah, it was not. I was literally trying to, came back from college and was sitting on the floor of my parents' house, and my dad looked at me and was like, "Why'd you never join the military?" I was like, "I don't know. I wanted to play basketball. I just never really got around to it." And he was like, "Well, why don't you?" And 3 days later, I was signed up for boot camp.
Wow, man, that's wild. But yeah, man, we don't got to spend too much time on it. I just wanted to I'd rather spend time on. I thought it was interesting to me that you're a Marine and an MMA fighter. Like there seems to be like some commonalities there. Like, do you think one has anything to do with the other, or is that just like a coincidence, or or do you think you're kind of drawn to that kind of, I don't know if you want to call it violence or competition or what do you think there's any kind of connecting threads there?
Man, I think it's I like to see how far I can push myself.
Yeah.
I'm not. I was gonna say I like the discipline, but I'm not the most disciplined person in like my personal life. I struggle with cutting weight a lot. I'm not like a super clean guy. I'm kind of messy. So I don't think it's necessarily. That's probably the biggest thing I had an issue with at boot camp was like keeping my shit squared away all the time.
Yeah,
and,
I would suck at that.
yeah, and but I like looking back at my life, man. Like I was a soccer player before I was a basketball player.
Oh shit!
And I played soccer in Europe in 2008. I played in Sweden and Denmark.
Oh wow! I had no idea.
Yeah, I was a lot better at soccer than I was at basketball, and then I just kind of fell in love with basketball, but I quit soccer. I got hurt playing basketball, and I quit when in theory I could have stayed, and so I've always felt like I've kind of undersold my ability, and so like my dad, before he died, he straight up tell you like. He's like, every day you were at boot camp, I just kept waiting for that call that you were coming home. And I was like, geez, thanks, Dad. And And I was like, I mean, once you're there, it's like either you have it or you don't. You know, there's a
Yeah,
lot
you
of
kind
guys
of
that,
just get
but
in where you fit in, right?
yeah, it was never that. I mean, it sucks, but it was never that hard.
Yeah,
Um, but and that's the same thing with fighting is like it's a grind.
yeah.
Cutting weight sucks, but I like to see, I don't really care about losing. I mean, I like to win, obviously, but I'm not in it to make millions. I just like to see how far I can push myself, how good I can get.
You're more of a process guy than a results guy. It seems like
Yeah, yeah,
more
for
focused
sure.
on the journey than the destination.
Yeah, and
Yeah,
man, I like to be. I like to look back on things. When I always told my dad this, and everybody. I tell everybody this when, like, when I look back on shit, they're like, "You're not going to be able to walk by the time you're 50." And
fuck
I
that,
broke my neck, broken my back. I had a 13-hour intestinal reconstruction surgery. I went
man.
septic. Yeah, like I've broken 42 bones. Like I've been around, man.
Fucking Christ.
Yeah, bro, 16 broken noses. Um, I broke
Damn.
my orbital, like all sorts of shit. And I missing a finger. Like I've been through all sorts of shit, man. And
Bro, don't you think that I'm sorry, I'm gonna pause you real quick. But like, don't you think that you better off like being that active than just? I feel like somebody like that will live longer than the person that sits on the couch all the whole life. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like that's where our society gets it wrong. Like, cause people told me the same thing. Like, why the fuck you get on that skateboard? Like, it ain't gonna make you no money. It's like, man, I just think life is about doing things like and just fucking. I ain't trying to be on the sideline watching everybody else have all this fun. You know what I mean? I would just much rather. I agree with you on that front. That I'd just much rather. Hell, if because I mean, we all got to be old one day, right? I might as well use it while I
yeah,
got it. Like,
yeah, that's how I am, man. I want to look back and be able to like tell all these stories, and like tell my grandkids how some dude knocked me the fuck out, in the
yeah,
second round of
man.
my world title fight. Like that's I just want stories. I want to be able to tell my grandkids when I was sitting in the desert in Africa with with my homeboys, putting 50 cal rounds down the range. Like
Yeah.
I don't see the point in just sitting around having riding. People are like, you could die on that motorcycle. People, see me ride my motorcycle fast or whatever. Like, you could die. You need to sell that motorcycle. No, like, if I die on my motorcycle, then I'm having fun. Like if I
Yeah.
die in the ring, then I had a smile on my face, getting kicked in the face till I died.
Yeah,
And
man. I feel that. I really do, bro. I really do. Like, it's kind of controversial and not everybody kind of can relate, but I always felt the same way because, I played football the vast majority of my life, and everybody always was telling me how dangerous that was and all these bad things that could happen. And I had the same exact attitude as you, brother. Like, man, if I go out on a football field, I'm fucking lucky. Like, that's where the fuck I want to go out. Like,
yeah,
and I had a friend, I'm sure you knew him too, R.I.P. Edong Mbong,
yeah,
and he died on his bike. And but I swear to God, I always found some peace knowing like that fool was like Ricky Bobby, man. He just liked to go fast, like legit.
yeah,
Whether it was in a car, bike, that was his shit, was going fast, driving fast, pushing the limit. Like and so I always found peace in that, knowing that like he went out the way that he wanted to go out. So I feel you on that. I really do.
yeah. I mean, yeah. Like I just lost my best friend in August 22nd. He got in a motorcycle wreck and died. And but he always told us he was like, man, I want to go out riding with my best friends, with my brothers. I don't want to feel it, and I want to be on two wheels. And he got, it was sad. It was unfortunate. He got hit by a drunk driver head on, but it's just part of it, I guess.
Yeah, man. Like I don't know, man. Like these people that just spend their whole fucking life with their nose in a book and in front of a screen. Like I just feel like they're getting a different experience than the people that's actually getting their hands dirty. Just getting after it, just living life. I definitely respect your outlook on that for sure. And just want
Yeah,
to take a quick second to shout out everybody viewing us live. You know, the podcast is on a multiple, different platforms, YouTube, Anchor, Spotify, all that. But there is something special about being part of the live show. So thanks for everybody that's just tuning in live. For sure. Man, I want to get your take on like the Oklahoma MMA scene. Like, would you say that it's necessarily a good scene, like compared to some other states? That's like where do you see the status of the Oklahoma MMA scene, and just maybe the future of it, and just your thoughts on that?
Man, I think Oklahoma is slept on big time, big time. I think we got a lot of dudes that should be they should get a lot more shine than they really do. I think we got a lot of dudes that should be in Bellator, be in the UFC, that aren't. A lot of females that aren't, that should be. We just had Jimmy Flick just won his Contender Series. He had the most submission attempts ever in Contender Series history. Man, I've watched that dude for a long time. He is a savage, bro. He's a hard worker. He's a good dude. He's solid. He's everything that the UFC should want.
Man. I want to pause you real quick just because, like, obviously I haven't experienced this on the MMA front, but I feel like that applies across the board, bro. Football talent, like music talent, fucking, business, like just like Oklahoma for real is slept on. Like, it's crazy because, I've been having my podcast for a minute now, and I talk about it, people out here in California and everything. And I talk about all the guests I've had and all the wide, range of talents that they possess. And I get always asked that same question, like, where are you finding all these talented people? I'm like, man, all these motherfuckers from my hometown of 100,000 people. Bro. Like all of them, bro. I've had authors, fighters, rappers, models, and we all from fucking Norman, bro. Like all of us, man. Like, I got my talents, you got your talents. Like George Kittle, fucking. Trey Young, man. Like, and I feel like people have been like, just their jaw drops when I tell them that, like, I know all. They're like, how do you know all these people? I'm like, dog, like, we all from the same spot. Like there's so much talent in Oklahoma, like just across the board, and like. And bro, I'll be real. As somebody who kind of, bailed on Oklahoma, if you want to call it that, like, it is that balance between, like, God damn it, can I succeed here? And, like, do I want to, like, further the cause? Somebody's got to be like the Oklahoma Jesus that just, like, risks their whole career for it. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know, man. Like, and then there's guys that have, right? Like the rapper JB, and he's achieved like pretty good success by a lot of people's standards, but he ain't having no platinum plaques or nothing. You know what I'm saying? And like, same thing like the rapper Z. I'm a big fan of the rapper Z, his whole movement. And I know he don't just be in Oklahoma, but it's just like there's something about Oklahoma. It almost feels like a glass ceiling almost.
Yeah, man. I think like you said, it's a struggle because we're, California and Texas are obviously going to have more people come out of there. Those bigger cities, just because there's more people. The sports in California, as I'm sure you've seen, are just ridiculous. There's just when you got places, like LA and those surrounding cities, you're going to have those just freak superstar athletes come out of there. Same thing with Texas, like Houston and Dallas. There's just freaks that come out of there too, and Florida. But I really think, like, fighting wise, man, we've got a lot of savages in Oklahoma. Like, there's one standing right here to my right now. You can't see her, but she trains here at Forza, and she's a superstar, man. She's an absolute superstar. We've got in this gym, which I just, like, as you know, I just started coming to this gym, but we've got so many talented people in this gym, bro. Like, I'm getting beat up here by dudes that don't have fights, but have had 0 fights. Like, there's a kid in here, I'm telling you, he's the next TJ Dillashaw. I would put
every bit of my money on it. He'll be the next TJ Dillashaw. We've got the #1 heavyweight in the country, amateur heavyweight in the country at this gym. We've got Jimmy
What's
Flick.
his name?
Wyatt. What's his last name? Wyatt. I'd have to look up his last name.
No, it's all good. It's all good. My bad to put you on the spot, bro.
I started this gym last week, so I don't know like everybody,
No, I
but
feel
just
you.
seeing their like I've just been watching these cats on YouTube and like
High
training
level.
with them, dude. And even the gym that I came from, Trinity Martial Arts. There's a kid in there named Tater McSpadden, and he's a killer too. He just knocked out.
Tater?
Yeah, his name's Tater. Yeah.
Jesus Christ! I'm already down, dog. I need some Tater merch immediately.
Yeah, I mean he's 19 years old. He just head kick KO'd a dude in the first round of one of the best kickboxing promotions in the country, and I mean he's a killer. You know, it's we're slept on, man, and what people fail to realize a lot of the time is, and where I think Oklahoma is starting to catch up now is we were so predominantly a wrestling state.
Yeah,
so
definitely. Long
we had guys
years
like
of wrestling.
Kyle Crutchmer that's in Bellator now.
Okay,
And,
okay.
you know, a lot of those, I mean, obviously not everyone's a Division I national champion wrestler,
Yeah.
but we've got a lot of really, really strong wrestlers.
Hell yeah.
But where we're catching up now is we've got these gyms like Forza, where I'm at now, and like Trinity Martial Arts. And we got these people that are bringing real Muay Thai, real kickboxing, real high-level striking to Oklahoma now, and are established and starting to build. And I think one of the differences in Oklahoma is, as you know, it's especially in places that are smaller than like a Norman because of the university or whatever. It's a lot of blue-collar people. It's a lot of hard-working people. It's a lot of people that just come into these gyms and just grind out every day.
Bro, that's what I wanted to touch on. Because, like, bro, even, like, out here, bro, like, completely unrelated from fighting, but just little jobs I've had out here. I've been in the tech, you know, I'm in San Jose, the Silicon Valley, tech industry, all that. I've worked at, like, a tech company, and it's like, my Oklahoma work ethic legit sets me apart. Like, me slacking is harder than these California kids could work. Like, I shit you not, bro. Like something about growing up in Oklahoma, man, there is an edge, there is a toughness, there is a determination that just sets us apart, bro. I stand by that, man. Like I've just met too many people, bro, and especially being out here in the Bay Area. Like I meet people my own age that are just fucking just useless, bro. Just they don't got that it factor, bro. And like, yeah, growing up in a place like Oklahoma with the odds stacked against you, man, like it does something to you, man, for sure.
Yeah. It's loud in here right now. Sorry, I'm trying to get to a quiet spot.
No, it's all good.
Yeah, I mean, like, there's this cat that just commented on this video, Jad. He's
Shout out
here too, and man, he's a killer too. He just fought in Florida. He's got I don't know his record, but he's got multiple wins by submission. You know, he's a 135er, and I was sparring with him last night, and he was giving me everything I wanted.
Wow.
I mean, everything I wanted. It's just there's so much talent here, and now we've got places like this gym, Forza, that are giving people that shine on a national level. Like Jimmy Flick, he had his shot, well, kind of sort of a shot on the Ultimate Fighter, and he was an alternate, and he made weight, was there, just no one else missed weight, so he didn't get a shot. When he came back,
that's tough.
Yeah, and he was having, he was winning fights. He'd lose one, win a couple. He was just, kind of in that funk. Well, he came here to Forza and he rattled off 4 straight, and now he's in the UFC. People don't realize, he's such a high-level wrestler and such a high-level jits guy that people don't realize that he has pro Muay Thai fights. He has pro kickboxing fights. He dominated his pro kickboxing fights.
Wow.
The dude is the real deal, man. And I think he's we've got, the Raging Panda is from Oklahoma City, man. She's the real deal too. I mean, Sarah Alpar, she just lost her UFC debut, but she fought a killer, man. I mean, you put her against a lot of people in that division and she's tearing them up.
Yeah. Well,
you know,
and bro, I went in on the Beefy Boys breakdown about the Alpar stoppage, bro. That was fucking fucked up. That was
poor.
fucked up, dog.
Yeah.
But do you know Sarah Alpar? Like, have
Yeah.
you met her?
So I used to train at a gym there in Oklahoma City called American Elite, and there's a couple. Reggie Panda doesn't train there. I think she used to, but she doesn't anymore. But she spars in there all the time and stuff, and so that's another gym. Savages too, man. Like I trained there when I was living in Norman, and it was right as I cut my finger off, so I didn't get a whole lot of time in there. But man, when I was in there, it's good people. They're killers. They train hard. They've got a lot of promising guys coming out there. There's actually a dude. His name is Braden Smith, and he'll be in the UFC very, very soon. He just moved from Florida, and he's at an American Top Team now.
Oh
And,
shit!
yeah, I mean, he's the real deal.
Damn.
He's like 20, 22, 23.
And
He's got 14.
For those listening, that's so young for fighting. Like, fighting isn't necessarily a young man's sport. Like, football is a young man's sport. Like,
Yeah.
fighting, like, you can be in your prime at 38. Like, it's weird. It's
Yeah.
a weird sport. Which you wouldn't think it would be that way. Like, you think just your average person out there would think that fighting is a young man's sport. But it's this weird. It's weird how old people succeed in martial arts. It's crazy.
Yeah, I mean, it's experience. It's
Yeah.
That's a huge deal. He's like 23. He's got 14 professional fights, man.
That's wild.
He's the real deal. The real deal. I mean,
like in
yeah.
football, by the time you're 32, you're like an old washed man. Like in fighting, that's like you're just kind of getting into the thick of it.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, actually, I wanted to ask you that, bro. Like, and I guess maybe Overeem is an example of this, but like, do you ever think, because of the nature of the sport, do you think we'll ever see like a LeBron who dominates for 2 decades? Like,
Yes.
like I said, I guess you can throw like an Overeem in there if you want, but like, you know what I'm saying? It's just so physical. Like, do you think that's like possible to achieve like longevity?
So, I think where we're at, where we're getting to with specifically MMA. I mean, you've kind of seen that in boxing, where you've got Floyd that dominates forever, Pacquiao, those guys. I think where we're getting to in MMA is it's still a relatively young sport.
Yeah.
It really hasn't even been huge for 15 years.
Yeah. Totally.
So I think we're just now starting to get to the generation of kids that grew up training MMA. There's another killer right here, Mike Jones. He's another savage. But I think we're just now getting to that where like we see kids coming up not being just wrestlers, not being just boxers, but MMA
like they're
fighters.
MMA fighters, exactly, bro.
Yeah, and so by the time they get 17, 18 in term, like Frank Mir's daughter. I don't know.
I know what you're talking about. Yeah, she's 17, taking her first pro fight
in Mexico because she can't fight in America.
Wow, that's wild, bro.
Yeah, and so I think we're just starting to see those guys. So I think in the near future we're going to see that guy.
I agree, bro. I agree. Like, I think we're going to have more John Joneses. And what I mean by that is John Jones's whole family was in the NFL. Like, he's an elite world-class athlete.
Yeah.
Like I think maybe 20 years from now, we may have, like, those 5-star Alabama football players. Like if we start seeing, like, imagine if like a 5-star Alabama linebacker trained MMA since they were 15. Just physically, genetically. Like, I think we're gonna start seeing more of those freaks in the sport.
Yeah, exactly. I'm gonna go sit in my car for a second, see if I can't get some quiet over here.
No, and I appreciate you, bro. And anybody listening on audio platforms that isn't seeing this, I'm interviewing an MMA fighter, and he's doing the podcast from his gym because he's a real motherfucker, and he's about what he says, and he's about. And so I'm not mad at it, bro. If it was any other guest, I'd be like, this fucking guy can't even fucking get some quiet. But, bro, you exactly where the fuck you need to be, bro. So don't even worry about it, bro. I respect it. I respect it for sure.
Yeah, I mean, but yeah,
ahead,
like you said, it's we're getting to that point to where I think in the very near future we're gonna see. I don't know if you know this cat, but there's a guy named Patty Pimblett.
You know, you ever heard
I
Paddy
don't,
the Baddy?
no.
Man, look that cat up. His name's Paddy the Baddy, and he, I want to say he's from Ireland, or no, he's from, I think he's from Liverpool.
Okay.
And he was, you know, he's a kid that's come up being an MMA fighter, and he just runs through everybody, man. Literally just runs through everybody. Like, he's unbelievable on the ground. He's unbelievable standing up, and he just kills everybody. It's crazy.
Wow.
That's just because he's just been a fighter his whole life.
Yeah, you're right. There's this shift happening right now where you can just feel MMA gaining steam. Like, you know, if you're a 15-year-old that's playing JV football, like, you're a good ass athlete, but you're not like good enough to start over the senior. Like, I could see you maybe heading to your local MMA gym instead, and just kind of, yeah, those people that are like singular minded are definitely going to be suited for it. I'm going to transition to a question here. Would you say that fighting is more physical or more mental?
Man, I think fighting is an odd sport, man.
Definitely.
You can take people that aren't high level athletes
Yes.
and turn them into a great fighter. And you
Yes.
can also have an elite athlete that will never be a great fighter.
Yes. Seen both a million times.
Yeah. And now
Yeah.
when you get that John Jones that's both, or that Dominic Reyes,
Yes.
that's when you get into a freak.
Yes. Yes.
But it's, I mean, obviously that's rare. And we see it more with like high level wrestlers transitioning well because it's combat related. But we still haven't seen, and football players, because it's aggressive.
Yeah.
We see a lot of good football players.
Every time, I swear to God, every single time a football player is in the cage, I can call it just because of the size of their pecs. Like, I swear to God, you can always tell a football player in the octagon by the size of their pecs. I'm like, because fighters, like, if all you do is fight, you have that, like, Nate Diaz body. You know what I'm saying? Like,
You look like me. Slim chump.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, but like anytime I see a guy with like fucking man tits in there, I'm like, yeah, this guy played football for sure. Because fighters ain't bench pressing like that.
Exactly. That's like, I honestly think if you put Brock Lesnar in the heavyweight division right now, I think Brock Lesnar gets demolished.
And also Brock Lesnar does not pass USADA test at all.
Hell no. Not a
Hell
chance.
no.
But yeah, I mean, I think, like, everyone thinks that Brock Lesnar would, kill John Jones because he's so much bigger.
Hell no.
Not a chance, man.
Yeah, you won't hear that coming from my fucking content at all. Hey, man, and actually, so we touched on it earlier, but it's my fault. I got fucking distracted. But I want you to kind of go into a little bit more about weight cutting. How much weight do you cut to make 170, and how do you go about cutting it? And, like, have you ever had any, like, close calls as far as doing it unhealthy? Just, that's the main thing that the average Joe, including myself, will never understand ever, is what it feels like to weight cut. Because, like, bro, I've been punched in the face. Like, I know how that feels, but, like, I've never had to cut weight before. So just, like, I want you to kind of take a deep dive on weight cutting. Your opinion of it. Like, Joe Rogan thinks there needs to be more weight classes and less weight cutting. Or you know what I'm saying? I want you to take a dive into weight cutting, your thoughts on it, your methods of it, how much weight do you cut, all of the above, brother.
Man, I get actually a lot of my opinions based on what Joe Rogan says, because he has a lot of really good ideas on it. But I completely agree with him. I think there should be a lot more weight classes. Yeah. Like the jump between 55 and 70
is huge.
Yeah, and 70 and 85.
85?
Yes.
So
I'm right in the middle. Like, I'm the perfect example of it. Like, 70 is a 30 plus pound weight cut for me. If I come not off the couch, but if I come off chilling, for a little while, I'll easily be 203, 205 when I start a weight cut. Yeah, and then it's like, bam, 4 weeks, you got to lose 30, 35 pounds. And like, that's insane. If there was a 76 or, know,
77, something like that.
75, even 75, man.
Yeah.
I plateau. So this is not a good way to do it at all, but it's kind of the way that I've learned that it works for me. Like I will hit a plateau. I'll lose 15 pounds really fast, just by cleaning up my diet, going a lot less carbs, running more. I start running 3 miles a day. And then as I get like 2-3 weeks out, I start running 5 miles every other day. So it'll start coming off pretty quick, but at like right about 12 to 15 pounds out, I hit a plateau every time. And it's when I can no longer diet. And so the bad thing that I do is I go and I pick a Saturday night where I don't have, or a Friday night where I don't have anything to do on Saturday, and I take a shitload of laxatives. And it's a really bad way, but it works. And so I take a bunch of laxatives.
So you just like shit off 10 pounds?
Well, no, it gets me just over that hump. Because I'll put it, I'll drink water throughout the day. I still eat clean, but I'll still be eating during that day. But it's just like, it's getting rid of, I mean, maybe I don't know the science behind it, but for me, I feel like it's getting just that like little bit of like bullshit left in my system.
Yeah, like clogged up. Yeah.
Yeah, it gets me like clean. And then I feel like when I keep eating clean and I continue to clean up my diet more and more, I feel less like bogged down. I don't feel as bloated. And so I'm pretty sure that's a really bad way to do it, but that's kind of how I got off mine.
Have you ever had like a weight cut that like fucking you were working up, like you were trying to work up until the fucking very last minute to get that last half pound off? Like, have you ever had any super close calls?
Yeah, so like I said, I used to fight before I went to the gym that I was at Trinity. Like I said, my coach wanted me to fight heavy guys, so I was fighting at 190. There's the Muay Thai classes are different from MMA weight classes.
Cool.
So I was fighting at 195 then, and
wow.
I wasn't cutting any weight at all, like maybe like 5-10 pounds.
So what's your thoughts on that, bro? Like, how did you feel? Like, how did you perform without cutting weight? Like compare and contrast those.
I felt good. I felt really, really good. But those guys were really big. They were a lot stronger than me. They hit a lot harder than me. And I felt like I couldn't get space. Like at 70, I can keep someone at the end of my jab. I can keep someone at the end of my push kick or, my kicks or whatever. At 95, they just walk right through it. I could jab someone a million times and they would just keep walking through my jab. At 70, it makes them be like, oh, damn, I didn't like that. And so I like it a lot better. I think my weight cut is a little bit, like I said, I wish there was another weight class. But 85 still is, everyone's way stronger than me at 185 too. And so
it's almost like you would have to have like a mutual agreement among everybody to stop weight cutting for that situation to ever work, right?
Yeah.
And that's never going to happen because everybody wants to scratch and claw for every advantage they can get, which is understandable with the stakes that are at hand. I'm not faulting guys that make big weight cuts. Like I'm just wondering if there's like a scenario possible where it wouldn't be necessary. But like I said, it would almost take this kind of gentleman's agreement among fighters, which is never going to happen.
I'm not even super good. Like, I think there should be a cap. Like, the stuff that Cyborg did to her body was just absurd. But I'm not so against weight cutting like some people are. I mean, I see the need for it. I see the reason for it.
Exactly, because if there wasn't a reason for it, nobody would do it. Like, there's clearly like a payoff there. And there is diminishing returns as well, but I feel like there's a sweet spot there where if it didn't work, people wouldn't do it.
Yeah, and like I had one fight 20. So weigh-ins 24 hours out.
Yes,
I'm okay with. The way the UFC does it, it doesn't bother me that much. I get Joe Rogan's point about it, and I like the way that ONE FC is doing theirs with the hydration test and not cutting as much weight. But I don't mind so much, me personally, when I'm cutting weight. I don't mind the 24-hour weigh-ins.
Because then you can put it back on before the
Yeah.
fight, right? That's the theory,
I
right?
go and I found out what works for my body as far as getting myself rehydrated and eating. You know, I'll eat throughout the night. I'll set my alarm and I'll wake up and I'll eat throughout the night. I'll wake up and I'll eat the hotel breakfast. It's just all about knowing what your body needs, what your specific body needs.
Yes.
And, you know, now the UFC is doing a really good job about having those, you know,
Performance
dietitians
Institute.
and stuff.
Yes.
Yeah, and having stuff ready for those guys and girls. But what I absolutely cannot stand, I absolutely hate it more than anything in the world, is promotions that have same-day weigh-ins. I think it's ridiculous, man. When I had my
that doesn't make any sense at all.
no, when I had my UKF title fight, I shit you not, I cut weight in the sauna. Weigh-ins were supposed to be at like 12:30 or 1 o'clock for a 6 p.m. fight. But my weight cut was actually pretty easy. I was on weight, so I only cut like maybe 5 pounds in the sauna, which took me, you know, an hour and a half. So it wasn't that bad, but still I'm dehydrated.
Bro, pause, because you say it's not that bad, but for your average Joe out there that goes to 24-hour fitness and spends 10 minutes in the sauna, that's insane, dog. Like, bro, whenever I spend 10 minutes in the sauna, I feel like I have like big dick energy. I'm like, yeah, I'm mentally tough as fuck. I lasted 10 instead of 5. Like, bro, you be spending an hour in the motherfucking sauna,
Well,
bro?
so I'll do like usually 10 minutes in the sauna, and then I'll get out. I'll, you know, be wearing a sauna suit or you know, whatever, trash bag, whatever it is, and I'll get out and it's really less about sitting in the sauna and it's about keeping your heart rate up.
After you leave the sauna.
So you keep
That
sweating.
makes sense. That
I'll
makes
sit
a lot
there
of
for
sense.
short periods of time, and when I can feel myself start to stop sweating as hard, I'll go sit in there for a short period of time, get my sweat back up, and then I'll ride the bike, or I'll do jumping jacks, or I'll shadow box or whatever to keep your heart rate up. Not like super strenuous, but just to where you keep sweating.
Yes, exactly.
But man, I
Hey,
went out
bro.
to this fight.
Hey, bro. Just keep talking about weight cutting. Like, just keep up. Like, get into the nitty gritty details of weight cutting. I'm gonna be back in like 2 seconds. I'm not gonna lie. I gotta piss.
All right.
Just talk weight cutting. I'll be right back.
All right, I got you. So I had a weight cut where I went and the weigh-ins were supposed to be at like noon or 12:30, 1 o'clock, something like that. And I went and I showed up, and first thing, it was an outside event. It was for a UKF world title fight. It was a small town in Oklahoma. And I had just fought this dude 6 weeks before. And then I had spent the entire week before fight week in the hospital. So I was cutting weight in the hospital, trying to run on the treadmill, trying to lose weight, trying to diet with shitty-ass hospital food. It was miserable. But I was on, you know, pretty good on weight, but I was dehydrated. I was still hungry. I was still pissed off. And I went and all I was trying to do was sit in the locker room until it was time to weigh in. So I show up at like 11 o'clock for a 6 p.m. fight. So I was telling him I showed up for this fight at like 11 o'clock to weigh in.
And these are same day weigh-ins, correct?
Yeah, this is same day weigh-in. And fight was at like 6 o'clock. I show up at 11, pissed off, you know, not feeling great.
Yeah, I can't imagine how you feel, bro. Like, real talk. Like,
yeah,
like
it was
nobody listening or watching can possibly fathom how it feels for these motherfuckers 5 minutes before weigh-in. Like,
yeah.
I just want to get that out of the way before fucking casuals and guys eating Carl's Jr. start talking about guys missing weight, because nobody can relate. But continue.
Yeah. So we're sitting there, and it's an outside event in late August, and so I show up at 11 o'clock. It's like 97 degrees outside, bro. It might have been in September. I don't remember. It was either late August or early September.
In Oklahoma, it doesn't fucking matter.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. And so I show up, and the first thing I said, bro, is in this little town. It was in Dewey, Oklahoma. And it was at their Western Heritage Festival. I was having a world title fight at their Western Heritage Festival in Main Street, Dewey.
That's funny, bro.
Yeah.
That's wild. I imagine
Yes.
there wasn't any spelling bees going on.
No. I showed up, and I was like, "Hey man, where's the dressing room at?" And I can't make this shit up, bro. He points at a horse trailer, and was like, "Oh, you can use that if you want." And I was like, "So there's nowhere I can sit inside until weigh-ins?" And he was like, "No." He was like, "You can sit in that horse trailer." I was like, "Bro, it's like 120 degrees in that fucking horse trailer. Like, I'm not sitting in there." So I literally just found a shady spot on the side of a building and posted up outside. So I was supposed to be there for like an hour maybe. And I had like my gallon of water and stuff that I mix in it and everything, and had some food ready to eat. So he comes up to me and he was like, this was a Friday fight. And he was like, so the athletic commission thought that the fight was tomorrow and the weigh-ins were tonight at 6 p.m. And I was like, so what does that mean? And he was like, so that means weigh-ins are going to get pushed back till the athletic commission gets here. And I was like, so
It's always the athletic commission's fucking up some shit, bro. Even at the highest level. Even at the highest level, it's always the athletic commission's fucking just fucking suck. They spend too much time fucking sucking dicks, bro.
Yeah, bro. I was the main event, and I showed up. Or the athletic commission showed up at like 4 o'clock. I weighed in at like 4:30 for a 6 p.m. fight. Yeah, I was like, I know shit. Like,
I guess the only kind of saving grace is that your opponent had to do the same thing, right?
He doesn't cut weight. He walks around at like 175 and fights at 170.
Oh, god damn.
Yeah.
So it definitely
And hits like
you.
Yeah, hits like a fucking truck, bro.
Oh,
and
fuck, bro. My bad.
He's this like super lean, long black dude that just, God, he hits so hard. And
Jesus.
And I mean, he knocks everybody out. Everybody. And he's not like a super technical fighter, but god damn, he hits hard.
Yeah.
And
certain guys get away with that.
Yeah, he's technical enough to whoop your ass.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I weighed in at like fucking 4:30, 5 o'clock for this 6 p.m. fight. I like had my wife, girlfriend at the time, now wife. I had her like give me like a package of beef jerky and some fruit, and I like took a couple sips of a Mountain Dew to like get some sugar in my body, and like I couldn't do anything, and I got knocked.
So did you fight like shit like as a result?
Man, I'm not saying that I got knocked out because of that, but I definitely didn't eat his punches like I did the first time we fought on a 24-hour weigh-in.
Yeah, no, and I feel you because from a fighter's perspective, you're never going to make the excuse. But at a certain threshold, there's like physiological consequences. Like
it definitely didn't help.
Yeah.
I mean,
definitely.
The weight cut had nothing to do with him breaking my nose in half, but it.
But I mean,
help.
maybe it did though. Like maybe that shit affects reaction time. Maybe that. I mean, the science isn't really there on like how a bad weight cut affects performance. I mean, because I've seen it a million times in the UFC where, a guy misses weight and you think he's gonna have the advantage. But in reality, it's just a shitty weight cut, and he looks like shit, and he ends up getting starched by the smaller man.
Yeah, it definitely does not help anything. I mean, when you start cutting weight, like one of the first things when you start to get really, really dehydrated, one of the first, and like sitting in the sauna and shit, one of the first things that leaves is the fluid between your skull and your brain, and all that shit goes away. And so when
you just feel stupid as fuck.
Well, no, it's like protects your brain from bouncing around your skull.
So that affects your chin.
Yeah, so when there's none of that there, your brain's just smashing up against your skull, man.
Yeah.
So you physically can't eat punches like you normally can. And that's when it gets into the science of putting the weight back on, is doing the right things to get your, like just pounding water.
Fluid.
Yeah. Just pounding water is not good for you. It's a science, and it's different for everybody. So.
Oh my goodness, bro. Yeah, that's why I just and it sucks because like only the high end UFC fighters have access to like the real safe way to weight cut. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like
exactly.
there's like for a guy like you, there's no fucking professionals to really consult. It's just get the weight off. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
That's what's crazy.
yeah,
Like and Rogan has talked about this, and other people have too, about how like a lot of fighters actually go about it the wrong way, because if you put your body in a starvation mode, then it clings on to everything.
yep,
You know what
yep,
I mean?
yep.
And I've recently learned about that, like how that was kind of a misconception, like an old school misconception. Like you're better off eating a little bit. You'll actually lose more weight if you eat, because your body's not trying
Eating
to.
frequently, yeah, yeah, smaller portions frequently, yeah.
All right, man. So I'm gonna kind of transition here. Outside of the UFC, is LFA the best promotion, or is it still Bellator? Or like outside of the UFC, what promotion are people sleeping on?
Man, uh, there's a couple good ones, man. For a while, it was King of the Cage. You know, that's where Ronda Rousey came from, where
Okay.
you know, Uriah Faber, all those guys,
Yeah.
and they've still got some talent there. Not like they used to. Um,
Like I
man,
just keep hearing LFA as a feeder to the UFC. I mean, I know a lot of women come out of Invicta, but that's women's only, so that
right?
makes sense. But yeah,
Man,
is it pretty much LFA and Bellator competing for second fiddle, or is there anybody else that needs to throw their name in the hat?
man, there's a lot of like this XFN show that we have here in Tulsa. It's kickboxing and MMA. That's where Crutchmer came from. That's where a lot of these local you know, guys from Oklahoma and their surrounding states come out of. And it's a really great show. Dale Apollo Cook puts it on. I don't know if you ever heard of him, but he's a, you know, world champion kickboxer from back in the day. Really takes care of his fighters. I mean, it's a good promotion. And he puts a lot
Yeah,
of
man. Actually, so I'm just gonna say this in kind of out of the way. When I was in Oklahoma, man, I had a close friend. I'm not gonna say names here. I'm really not gonna say names here because I'm not a snitch. But I had a close friend of mine, close friend, inner circle friend, who was a pro upcoming MMA fighter. And that's why I'll be real. He uh, he taught me a lot, and he got me into this world. And for that, I guess I am thankful. But he also stole $4,000 from me, and fuck that guy. And I said I ain't gonna say no names because I ain't no snitch. But if I ever see you, that's gonna be the only MMA fighter I ever try. I'll try my luck. I'll try my luck. I'll hope my fucking 50 pounds gives me the advantage. If he whoops me, he whoops me. But you're gonna have to see me one day. But anyway, uh, like what I'm getting at is he fought on XFN one time, and I was able actually to watch that on TV out here in Cali.
yeah.
So like I kind of said all that to say, like, yeah, XFN is definitely on the upcoming. Like they have a national audience. Like I said, I was able to watch my former homie fight on XFN out here in Cali. That was pretty cool.
Yeah.
So I'm glad you I'm
XFN
glad
is
you brought
actually
them up.
XFN is the longest running show in the country. Um,
Wow.
yeah, I mean,
Wow.
they've been around, bro, and it's good. Like they just had the 8-man, 155-pound 8-man kickboxing tournament. Those are always fun because you got to win three pro fights in a night to
So
win.
that's still going on. That type of old school shit's
Yeah,
still going on.
yeah, my buddy Alfred Freight Train Walker, he's a savage. He's like 30, 34 and 2 or 3 now. Um, he just won it for the second time this last Friday. So yeah, it's good stuff, man. But yeah,
I kind of want you to give your opinion on like the whole multiple fights in a short period of time versus like UFC where you fight every 4 months. Like,
man,
what are some pros and cons?
I, I mean, I think the cons are definitely it's tough on your body.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, those dudes are pretty beat up by the end of 3 fights. But I mean, if you've got that fighter's mentality, then it's fun. You know, that's the more fights I want to like. I was always told, and it's true, in Muay Thai, they don't, like, if you go anywhere but America and you ask a fighter, what's your record, they take offense to it. You just ask, how many fights do you have? Like in Muay Thai, you don't say what, like, how many fights have you won?
They respect the loser because it's so badass. Essentially,
Yeah,
right? Am I putting words in your mouth?
It's so much different. Like, there's a guy named Muay Thai Cowboy, and he's one of the, like, all-time greats. And then there's a guy named Senchai, and they've got like 300, 350 fights. And yeah, every week since they're like 12 years old, they've been fighting pro fights. And
every week?
Yeah, I'm talking all the time. And now they've slowed down a little bit. But they're like, in the Muay Thai world, they're like legends. So they slowed down a little bit. But on the way up, bro, like in places like Thailand, it's so poor. You like either go to the rice fields, you go to college, or you're a Muay Thai fighter. And these people like hold pads for tourists, like hold pads to make money. They live in the gym. Like, parents will send their kids to these gyms at 12 years old, and that's their job. From the time they're 12 years old, they're fighters.
I mean, bro, like, that sounds extreme until you think about, like, how serious youth football in America's got.
Yeah, the Snoop League.
Like, it's no different, bro, right? Like, there's TV shows.
It's really not.
Like, I know somebody right now who they have a son. It's my homeboy's older sister, and her sons are, like, elite. But, like, they're, like, in 4th grade, but they're, like, elite 4th graders. Like they travel, and it's fucking crazy. So it's like us as America, we kind of like to, like, snub our nose up at, like, the Muay Thai, Thailand. Oh, that's so barbaric. But it's like, dog, I mean, I know myself. I was playing tackle football at 7 years old in full playoffs, bro. And I know it's not like that out here in Cali. But, like, in a lot of places it is, and it's just, it ain't that different. Like I don't know, like,
it's really not.
We try to separate ourselves and make ourselves seem more enlightened and elite. And but, bro, man, sending a fucking, you know what I'm saying, 15-year-old to a Muay Thai fight and 7 to 8-year-old into a championship football game against the best team from Florida or whatever, like, it ain't that fucking different.
It's really not. It's really not. And
it's not.
And I would venture a guess that 12-year-old Thai kids have a lot more skill in their sport than our 12-year-old football players with their tackling form and whatnot.
Yeah, bro. Like, no, for real, man. Like, and it's so awkward at those young ages because, I mean, I'm sure you remembered it, bro. Like, there's always, like, that one kid who hits puberty at, like, 11.
Yeah.
And he's out there looking like Patrick Willis, fucking against a bunch of kids whose nuts haven't dropped yet. Like, it's over. Like those age of sports is weird, dog. It's definitely not, like, as the same as two grown men competing against each other, for sure.
Like Taylor Wheat being a 6'4" trainer, bro. That boy's scary. I love that.
Man, shout out to Tweety. Bro. Shout out to Tweeter, man. That's
I love that
guy.
dude.
Shout out to Taylor,
big boy,
man. This is for you.
I never took one snap of organized football in my whole life, bro. And dudes like Taylor Weeder are a big part of that.
No, dude, Taylor was fucking good, bro. I remember. Was he in your grade?
Yeah,
he was younger.
He was in my grade.
Yeah, I mean, I remember, bro, like, I was a junior, he was a sophomore, and, like, he didn't quite have the mental part of the game down, but just physically he would, like, light fools up and, like, make highlight plays, but it's like he wasn't quite understanding the game to be, like, a varsity-level player, but just the physical nature of him was obvious. It jumped off the screen, you know what I mean?
Bro, you know, it's so crazy to me, like, which I'm not talking about Taylor. I'm not saying I beat Taylor up. That's not what I'm saying here. But it's crazy. Like, there's these dudes from, like, high school where, like, I looked at them, especially, like, as, like, a freshman and sophomore or whatever, you know, little baby me, a little 130-pound me. You know, I looked at those guys and was like, oh, my God, they're so big. I'll whoop all them motherfuckers now. Every single one of them. I'll whoop all of them.
Yeah, no, I mean, technique is everything, bro, for real.
Yeah.
Like, no, I mean, I learned it the hard way, dog. Like, I've got my ass whooped in a street fight before. Shout out Matt Connery, you know what I'm saying? Like,
man, that's another big motherfucker, bro.
Yeah, big motherfucker, bro. Like, that's why got no shame in my game. Like,
Yeah.
bro, I was 13. He was like 15. He had like 40 pounds and like 8 inches on me. I was honestly stupid for talking shit to that motherfucker. But
That was
just,
crazy too.
no, he's a bad motherfucker. That's what I'm saying. I give him all his props. That's my biggest L I've ever taken. And that fool ain't no bitch. He ain't no bitch. If you want to go fight somebody, maybe choose somebody else. I'll give him that. But yeah, man, for real. I just yeah, no, definitely, man. So I kind of want to transition to something a little more serious here, and I know we have kind of like for those that don't know, me and Jay used to be very, very far apart racially and politically, but through intellectual discourse and conversation and not writing anybody off and not any of this 2020 ass culture of you against me, an actual understanding and conversation happened of not just me and Jay, but multiple, members of the black community and Jay. And we just came to an understanding, and now Jay is essentially loved by the black community of Oklahoma, and I just kind of wanted to talk about something serious for a second. And one of my big theories here, and I've talked about it on podcasts about racial issues, is that I strongly, strongly believe, bro, that if more cops had jujitsu training or like legitimately insert martial art A here, like it doesn't matter what martial art they choose, but I strongly, I really believe, and part of when people ask me like, oh, Dom, you have all these radical opinions, how would you fix police brutality? Like and once again, borrow an idea from Joe Rogan here, like I strongly believe that if more police officers were proficient in martial arts, that it would potentially lead to a decrease in police brutality. And like I said, I know it's kind of a little bit of veer off left from our conversation we've been happening, but as somebody who's trained martial arts and lives their life surrounded by people that's trained martial arts, like, do you think that would be a help, a detriment? Like, what's your thoughts on that? Like, I really think more police officers should train martial arts.
Man, I'm gonna answer this question very carefully because of.
And I know it's a hard position to put you in, for real.
No, and you and I have talked about my true feelings. I make that very known, but I'm because of who I involve myself with. I'm gonna make sure that I answer this question in the right way.
I feel you, bro. It's 2020, bro. I feel you, bro. But just for those listening, for those watching, Jay's one of the good guys. Like, for real, Jay understands. He's had the difficult conversations with the realest of motherfuckers, and Jay, the black community has your back here, bro. But yeah, go ahead.
I think in general, whether it be martial arts, whether it be firearms training, whether it be when and when not to pull what weapon, I think there's a general lack of
training in general.
It's non-existent. I think if you put, like, I come from the infantry in the Marine Corps. The time that we put in to be able to even be able to call yourself a Marine is 13 weeks of absolute hell. And then that doesn't mean you're anything. That means you're a Marine. That means you are a basically trained Marine. And so you go from that to whatever. If you're infantry, you go to ITB, Infantry Training Battalion, or SOI, the School of Infantry. And if you're not, then you just go to a shorter. You go to 4 weeks of basic infantry skills, and then you go on to your specific MOS school. But for infantry guys, it's 4 weeks of your general infantryman skills, and then it's another 4 weeks of your specific infantry MOS. And that's still just the basic knowledge that you need to know your job, to know how to, it's just so much training.
And I think it's important to note, bro, one of my biggest problems is that our troops overseas actually fighting evil and terrorism and like really looking the devil in the face have stricter rules of engagement than our police officers who are getting paid by our tax dollars have with fucking unarmed black teenagers.
Yeah, and
Like, because I've talked to multiple friends who have served overseas. Like, unless there's an AK in their hand, you can't do shit. And
yeah,
unless that AK is pointing at you, you still can't do shit. Like, you can see somebody with an AK, they throw the AK, and you can't shoot them. Like,
yeah,
I've talked to people that are
yeah.
deployed.
And I think that we all have, whether it be based on race or whether it be based on where somebody's from, we all have, unfortunately, like a sense not bias, but of like prejudice, I guess, to where if I
Yeah,
see
like unconscious bias.
yeah, if I see a person that looks a certain that fits that profile of, even if it is subconscious, then I'm going to be a little extra careful around that person. And I think, unfortunately, a lot of times that does come down on the, not
Bro,
sometimes, a lot of times it does come down on the black community.
All right, and we're going deep today on episode 19 of Dreadful Talk. It's been so much fun, and thank you to everybody still watching, still listening. We're going deep, and you know, some people like that, some people don't, but man, I wasn't ready to wrap it up with essentially what I'm going to go ahead and say is the best guest to ever be on Dreadful Talk, Jay Finley. This has been phenomenal. I'm thoroughly enjoying it, and we'll get him to join up with us again shortly. But man, this fucking guy, right, man? I mean, his story, his breakdown of the sport, I mean, his own personal journey. I mean, Jesus Christ. I mean, just the amount of adversity this guy's overcome. Like, sorry this isn't E60 or 30 for 30, but goddamn it, might as well be, because Jay Finley, man, here's to you and your story, brother. And yeah, we'll get him to join up here shortly. I'm sure he's, you know, preparing or whatever, but yeah, so far, I mean, he's described in just brutal detail how difficult it is to weight cut, how the intricacies of Muay Thai and Lethwei, which I will be completely honest, I didn't even know Lethwei was a real thing until he told me about it, and it sounds fucking badass. Former Marine, you know, we got into his military career a little bit, and let's get him back on here.
Man, my guy going deep with me, bro. I really, really appreciate your time. You hear me? Everything's good?
Yeah, I'm good.
All right, for sure, man. But yeah, we kind of had to rush up our last little topic. I kind of want to hop back into it. Like, we were kind of discussing whether or not, you know, training martial arts, what you think would help police brutality and help for more effective policing. And do you personally believe, I know it's kind of a landmine question to navigate, but do you personally believe that, like, you know, your average police officer could benefit, you know, from some martial arts training, and it would kind of increase discipline and lead to less lethal results when interacting with, you know, members of color in the community?
Yeah, man. Like I was saying, I think that everyone has at least some unconscious, you know,
Bias.
prejudice or like profiling. I mean,
Yes.
obviously, me and you don't look the same. You know, if I walk into some, you know, if I'm walking down the streets of Tulsa in a cowboy hat and, you know, boots and jeans, and you got long ass dreads, unfortunately, the people are going to look at us different.
Totally.
And
Real talk.
I'm not saying it should be that way. I'm not saying
Yes,
that's right. I'm just saying
but that's the fact of the matter. Yes, sir.
And I think a big problem is that people have never they've never been in some of the situations that you know that black folks have been in. They've never been around the streets, I guess, is what they think it is. You know, if you've never been in the hood, you've never experienced how just because someone is in a certain position or comes from a certain place, you know, how awesome those people are and how loving and caring. Like, you know, some of the scariest looking dudes I know are the best men I've ever met in my whole life. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I know that they got my back. I know, and unfortunately, a lot of other people will look at someone and automatically assume what they are. And I think a lot of the times when that lack of training comes in, irrational decisions get made based on emotion.
Yeah,
And
man.
so
That's
I
real.
think that martial arts training benefits everybody.
Yes.
I think it's not just one specific group of people that it would benefit. I think it's great for women. I think it's great
Yes.
for kids that are getting bullied. I think it's great for adults that get bullied, adults that have depression, anxiety,
Yeah.
self-confidence
Preach, brother.
issues. I think it's great for everybody.
Yes,
But yeah,
sir.
I think it would also help. I think it would help cops not kneeling on people's neck for 9 minutes.
Yeah.
I think if you have confidence that you can do something without killing somebody, you know, we'd see different outcomes on things.
Bro, so the heavyweight that just made a big fucking, I think he won performance of the night in the last UFC card, Dawkins, I forget his name, but his name's Chris Dawkins. He's a Philadelphia police officer, and he's a heavyweight fucking killer in the UFC. Like, how often do you think that fool reaches for his gun? Or
Exactly.
is he confident that he can fucking handle whatever comes his way? And I'm
Right.
not saying every fucking cop that trains is going to become a heavyweight killer, but I'm just saying I think Chris Dawkins is a great example of, you know, how martial arts and policing can kind of just form the perfect kind of bond and lead to correct and effective policing for sure. 'Cause
Right.
like I'm not one of these guys that's like defund the police, but I'm also not one of these guys that's like a bootlicker that, like, you know, the police can do no wrong. Like clearly something's got to give, right? Like clearly this isn't an effective method to, you know, police people of all colors. For sure. Let me ask you this. So we talked on it briefly. You did a little camera flash of it. Has your finger injury like impacted your fighting at all?
Man, I'm gonna get over here where it's quiet again. Man, so I'll tell you the whole story on what happened. So
Yeah, please do. Please do.
so I'm at work. I'm working at a. Can you still hear me? They're being loud.
No, you're fine, bro. You're fine.
All right, cool. I'm at sitting at work, and I'm at working on this ranch in Norman, and I get my finger caught in the belt of a horse walker, right, which is basically this big belt powered thing that the horses just walk on. So I'm sitting there and I stick my finger in it and it gets lopped off and it's like sticking sideways, bro. It like looked, I don't know, it was like that kind of just like not straight, and it was like sideways.
And I'm sorry for everybody listening on an audio platform, but my guest here, my guy Jay, he's fucking missing about a third. Which finger is it, bro?
It's my right index finger, man.
Yeah, his fucking main pointer. It's fucking yeah. So this is definitely, I highly recommend you check us out on YouTube for this episode because you won't want to miss that. It is intense. But if you are listening on audio, he is missing about a third of his finger, folks. But continue.
So I lop it off. I go to the hospital. They sew it back on, and
Lop it off. That's
it's
no
hanging on
chill,
my
bro.
Bro, I get in the work van and my boss is like taking me to the hospital, and he's like freaking out, man, and I'm just sitting there like just chilling.
Yeah, because you
And
can't freak out. You can't. I've been there. I'm not quite that bad, but I've been somewhat close, and like you can't freak out or else everything falls to shit.
yeah, and so he's losing his shit, man, and I'm sitting there and I was like, man, it's okay, relax. And he was like, what do you mean relax? And I was like, I've had worse, bro. Like it'll be okay. And
What a badass.
and he was like, he was like, well, I don't know how you possibly had worse than this. And I was like, I mean, it's just a finger, man. So I get to the hospital and they loosely sew it back on and send me to the orthopedic surgeon the next day. And I shit you not, this is our exact conversation, like word for word. He was like, well, based on how it looks right now, we're pretty sure that we can save it. And I said, okay, cool. How long is that recovery? And he said, well, it'll be about a year to a year and a half at least before you get full motion in it. And I said, okay, and how long will it be if you just cut that motherfucker off? And he was like, it'd probably take like 5-6 months. Why? And I was like, cut it off. And he was like, what? And I was like, man, I gotta stick my hand in a boxing glove, bro. Cut it off. And he was like, you're kidding, right? And I was like, no, man, I got to go back to work and I got to stick my hand in a boxing glove. I don't have it.
Oh my God.
And
what a hard dick.
And so he was like, well, we're going to give you the option right up until this, like we'll schedule your surgery, but we'll leave the option just in case you get there and you decide that you want to keep it. And I was like, you don't have to do that. I want it to come off. And so
oh my God, folks.
I was at work the next day.
For those listening, for those watching, in case you didn't fully grasp that, my man could have kept his finger, but he loved fighting so goddamn much that it wasn't the extra time off wasn't worth it. Man, salute. So, man, fucking, I don't know. I just wanted to hammer that point home. Continue, please.
So we get all the way up to my surgery, man, and they were like, they like wheel me in like right before they gave me they didn't put me all the way to sleep, but
they didn't put you on sleep.
I was awake for it. They just put like a block on it.
Oh my God!
Yeah.
Your insurance must suck as much as mine does.
Yeah. So they were like, are you sure you want to do this? And I was like, yes. Like, yeah, I'm positive. And they were like, all right. So I'm sitting there in the surgery, and they've got like my little block on my shoulder, so I can't. They got mad at me because I was flopping my arm because I thought it was funny. So I was sitting there literally just flopping my arm like that on the table, and they were like, yeah, stop doing that. And I was like, oh shit, my bad. And so they had this sheet over my arm, and I'm hearing it, and
you're awake while they chop off the tip of your finger.
Yeah, and the anesthesiologist left, and I can hear this little sounds like fingernail clippers, and I was like, holy shit, is that my bone? And the surgeon goes, yes. And I look over at the anesthesiologist, and I was like, holy shit, that's funny. And I see him loading up a syringe, and I was like, is that some of the good stuff? And he was like, it's some more of the good stuff. And I was like, all right, cool. And then he gave it to me, and then I was pretty much done. But yeah, it was a wild experience, man.
Bro, I won't even try to compare war stories here, but I had such shitty insurance or lack thereof that when I got my wisdom teeth pulled, I had kind of a similar experience. Everybody's wisdom teeth gets pulled. It sucks, but mine sucked at extra level because I waited too long and it got impacted. And and the doctor or the dentist, he was pulling it, and I'm coming off the table, and he's like, man, he's like, you want to know the worst part? I was like, what the fuck can be worse than this? He was like, man, we gotta pull the next tooth too, because it fucked up the one next to it because you waited too long. And I was like, fuck, dog, let me have it, bro. I felt like a goddamn Civil War, amputee, dog. I felt everything, man. Yeah. I wasn't asleep. So, I mean, it sounds like you didn't feel too much, but you were definitely mentally aware of what was going on.
Oh, yeah. I was fully aware.
And so, how was it healed up, and how has it affected your fighting?
Man, now it really doesn't bother me. I mean, it's hard to write, and I drop some shit sometimes. I don't have a lot of grip strength, but as far as making a fist, I mean, I can make a full fist. I can squeeze a glove. It really doesn't affect me.
That's dope, man. I was so worried for you, bro. I was man, because bro, like you said, you ain't out to be a millionaire. It's just you love this shit, bro. Whenever I saw you hurt your finger, man, I was like legit fucking worried for you, bro. Just cause like, man, like a lot of people go through life without ever finding that thing that's like, this is me. This is what I do. A lot of people, I know it sounds hard for guys like you and me to understand that, but like a lot of people make it through their whole life and they never find out what they're good at.
Yeah.
And like and for I was just, man, whenever you fucking was posting on Facebook and shit that you had chopped off your goddamn finger, bro, I was wishing. I mean, I'm not really much of a praying man, but god damn it, man, I was hoping that didn't fuck up your shit because,
Yeah.
like I said, man, it's just like most people go their whole life without fucking finding that thing. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? And you found it, bro, and like
Yeah.
ain't nothing more tragic than somebody finding something they're good at and then having it snatched away, bro.
Yeah. 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 It's I definitely came out on the fortunate side of that one. I got lucky. It wasn't worse than it was. Um, I mean, it sucked. But in all honesty, man, it really wasn't that bad. It I took 2 days off work. Um,
What a fucking badass, dog. Like, I'm sorry, dog. Call me a pussy if you want to, dog. I'm taking more than 2 days.
yeah, I took, and I didn't even. I was at work the next day after I actually cut it off. I took 2 days off work after the surgery because it felt like someone had a lighter to it, man. Um, and this shit was fucked up too. All right, so they cut my fucking finger off, and it's like loosely, I look like when you fucking microwave a hot dog and it like explodes at the end. That's what my fucking finger looked like, bro.
Jesus.
And yeah, it was nasty as shit. And so they gave me they lowered my milligrams of pain medication, and they told me to take it less often after my surgery, like after they just chopped my fucking bone. And so I ended up in the ER that night, and my whole body was just shaking. And I texted my boss, and I was like, I gotta take tomorrow off work, man. Like, there's no way. And he was like, that's fine. And so, but the doctor in there was this new female doctor, and I'm not talking shit on females. I'm just saying she was a female doctor,
Yeah.
and she was clearly a fairly new doctor, because she goes, yeah, I know how you're feeling. I gave myself my first IV 2 weeks ago, and I literally at one point I told her, I was like, she kept trying to touch it, and she wanted to rip the bandage off without doing anything, just no pain meds, no morphine, no nothing. And she's like,
Fuck.
fucking with it. And I literally looked at her and I said, if you touch me one more time, I'm gonna kick you in the goddamn teeth.
Like, dog, this ain't fucking the Battle of Antietam, homie.
Yeah. I was like, this is bullshit, man. But after that, it was all right. I mean, it sucked, but I was sparring for I was in the gym a couple weeks later, and I was sparring with one glove on. Just I was still trying to train as I could, just without a right hand.
Dog, man, I respect it so much, bro. Like, and I mean, I know this isn't lost on you, and I know you don't consider yourself an average Joe because you can't and be a fighter, and you obviously consider yourself, at least physically a notch up or two from the fucking average fat fucking Walmart. But what I'm getting at is, like, man, that's just such a mental decision. Like, you fucking made up your mind and was like, this shit ain't fucking stopping me, dog. Like, I respect that to the fucking utmost degree, man, because so many people, dog, so many people fucking hit a obstacle, a fucking little hindrance, a little something that doesn't go smooth, and that's just it. Like, that's over with. And
Yeah,
man, if anybody goddamn had a reason to quit, man, it's you. And I just damn, I don't want to get emotional. I'm getting emotional, but just for real, your ability to just say fuck that, fucking goddamn it, this isn't derailing my plans. I feel like every single fucking person in America can fucking learn from that, man. If anybody had a reason to quit doing what they was doing, it's a fighter who loses a goddamn finger. And I
yeah.
I don't know, bro. I know you're not the type of guy to fucking pat yourself on the back, man. But god damn it, 9 out of 10 Americans would have fucking turtled up, bro.
Man, it's at the end of the day, like, which this sounds weird in this situation, but people take shit too seriously, man, and that's really like I've I've been through the real shit.
Yeah,
Like I said,
yeah.
like, man, so this is gonna get fucking a little deep here, but when I found my dad, man, I was training at in Muskogee, and one of my training partners had a Bellator fight coming up. She fought Valerie Lareda, um, and so we were all in the gym hardcore trying to get her ready for this fight. Doing whatever. I mean, this was my first year of fighting still, so I was basically a dummy for her. But
Yeah.
I was getting my ass whooped every day just to try to help her out however I could. And my dad was living about an hour away from there. And my dad got diagnosed with a disease called diabetic amyotrophy. So he ended up losing the use of his legs.
Oh
Man,
shit.
he looked like the pictures you see of like people in concentration camps. He looked like that, man. He was like, when he used to take care of my family's ranch by himself, he was like 6'3", 6'4", like 220. Like, dude had a six pack at 58 years old. Like, I mean, dude's calves were twice. I mean, dude is a stud, man.
The
He's
genetics
yeah,
stud.
yeah, he was a hoss. And he when he got sick, he got down to 6'3", 135 pounds.
Holy
And,
fuck, man.
yeah, and so he lost use of his legs, and so we ended up buying him this four-wheeler so he could at least get around the ranch and hop
Oh
himself on
no,
there.
and that's what he died on?
So he in 2 weeks, bro. And so I went and
Oh,
we were training, and he I texted him and I was like, my mom was in Norman for a wedding, and I was still working on the railroad at the time, and so I was like, hey, I was working the night shift, and so I was like, hey, I'm gonna do this little training session, and I'm gonna come, eat some lunch with you, whatever, and chill with you till I got to go to work. And he was like, all right, cool. So we finished our training session, and they were like, hey, we're gonna go to Rib Crib. You want to come? And I was like, oh yeah, fuck it, man. Like,
good old rib crib.
yeah, I'll go eat a little food, go go do whatever, and then I'll bring him some food there instead of cooking for him. So I'm drink a couple beers at Rib Crib. I'm chilling, and I drive home, man. And as I'm driving up, I see his four-wheeler on its side, and if you knew my dad was like the most cautious human being alive, bro. Like would not hated that I rode a motorcycle, bro. Like hated this shit. And so I thought it was our neighbor, because our neighbor was this dude. He's fucking wild. And so I thought he had got it on, wrecked it. And I was pulling up and I laughed. And I'm going and I see somebody under the four-wheeler. And I was like, oh shit, that's not good. I still never thought it was my dad the whole time. And I get up there,
So
and I was,
the four-wheeler itself kill your dad?
man, we're not 100% sure what really happened. We don't know how he ended up where he was. We just don't know. His official cause of death was a broken neck.
So he was dead on arrival. Like when you pulled up, it was a rat.
So that's what I don't really remember. I pulled up, and my first instinct was to try to get the four-wheeler off of him. But we have
Yeah.
a gravel road, and on the side of the other side of the gravel road is our
man.
neighbor's barbed wire fence. And so the four-wheeler was stuck in the barbed wire, and so I couldn't push the four-wheeler because I couldn't break the fence, so I couldn't push the four-wheeler off of him that way, and I couldn't get to the four-wheeler because of the barbed wire to push it off the other way. And so I had a little freak out, man, and I came back, and then I looked at him for sure and knew he was dead.
Fuck.
So,
Oh
and then
man,
so
thank you for
that's
sharing this, man. Like for real, like god damn it, man. I can't imagine how hard that is, man. But thank you, bro.
Yeah, man. And so, like, I dealt with that, and then I'm very open about my mental health, and not because I think I'm, badass or whatever, um, or because I don't know, not for
No,
me,
because
but
you know that shit can affect anybody, no matter how badass
yeah,
you are, bro. That's
yeah,
the real reason. Like that shit
and
being
so
badass ain't got nothing to do with it, man. There's a lot of badass motherfuckers that fucking shot themselves, man.
yeah, man, and I've had multiple friends in the Marine Corps commit suicide. I've got their names tattooed on my chest. Um, I and so that night that I ended up going to the hospital before that fight, man, I was walking around. I was staying with my mom, and I was walking around our entire horse ranch for like 5 hours with a gun in my hand, just like waiting for the courage to suck start that thing, man. And and I called my sister for some reason, and she was like, "What are you doing?" And I was like, I didn't tell her what was going on, but I went in and I woke my mom up, and I was like, "Mom, I think you need to take me to the hospital." And she was like,
God damn,
"For
man.
what?" And I was like, "I'm not trying to scare you, Mom, but I think I'm about to kill myself." And she was like, "What?" And I was like, "Yeah, I'm gonna kill myself if I don't go to the hospital." So I checked myself into the hospital 2 weeks out from a fight. Spent spent a week in a psychiatric hospital, and it saved my life. And so I've been through that real shit. I've been in I've been
Yeah,
in
man.
other bad situations. I've been in life-threatening situations. This fighting shit, everything else, it's a fucking game, man. That's all it is. This finger, it's a game. It ain't shit. Um, there's people that no matter chopping off a finger, there's people got it a lot worse than I do. Seeing my dad dead, there's people that got it worse than I do, bro. And so all this shit it's just for fun, and that's how
Dog.
I try to keep it. I try to keep it
Yeah,
light,
man.
keep it fun, and not stress about little shit, man. It's just a finger. That
And
sounds
hell
that
yeah,
sounds
man. And let this go out to anybody that's fucking listening, anybody that's fucking watching that thinks you're fucking too cool for therapy, too badass for therapy, or it ain't gonna happen to you. Like, dog, like, fucking, man, taking mental health seriously, man. Cause,
yeah,
like, man, here's a badass motherfucker sitting here telling you that, like, everybody needs some help, man. Like, everybody, like all of us, man. Like, we ain't nobody fucking too cool, too tough to go get a little bit of help, man. And like, bro, I'm getting emotional right now, bro, because like I can't imagine how many people have gone through what you've gone through, and it is the bad way. You know what I'm
yeah,
saying? Or like, and just, man, shout out to all the fucking veterans. Anybody, but you don't gotta be a veteran to have trauma though. Like that's what I want
yeah,
to get across. Like there's a bunch of everyday motherfuckers out there, just people that think they fine, but they not fine. Like especially here, I'll even speak up, bro. Especially in the black community, like everybody's too fucking tough, too fucking cool, too fucking badass to admit they got some problems and seen some shit that they
yeah,
probably shouldn't have seen, man. You know what
yeah,
I mean? And like, and it's fucked up because we live in a fucking country where therapy ain't covered for free.
yeah,
And
yeah,
so, and so a lot of people can't afford therapy, and everybody wants to say go to therapy, but nigga, that shit costs $200 an hour and shit. And
yeah,
and, and,
yeah,
and man, dog, God damn it, I can't thank you enough for just sharing your story, sharing how you overcame it, and man, I'm sure somebody listening, somebody watching was feeling like a bitch, feeling like a pussy for thinking the thoughts that they was thinking. But listen here, y'all. Here's a real MMA fighter, a real motherfucker, a real badass, a real Marine that's sitting here telling you that he struggled with mental health. And so ain't nobody fucking above that shit. Ain't nobody exempt. Ain't nobody too cool for that shit. Ain't nobody too tough for that shit, man. Like, yeah, like get that shit out of your head if you watching, if you listening. Like, if I can save one person's life right now, it's
yes,
worth kind of getting off the rails a little bit. Like, man, ain't nobody too tough, Ain't nobody too cool. Ain't no such thing as cowboy up or rub some dirt on it. Fuck that.
Yeah.
Fuck that. That's
Yeah.
what the fucking our ancestors got wrong for the past 60, 80 years was that cowboy up mentality. How about let's talk about it mentality? How about let's get some help mentality? How about we ain't fucking strong enough to carry the world on our shoulders mentality, dog? Like I ain't even experienced anything as real as you, and I get that, man. I for real, and like, ain't no shame in it, man. Ain't no shame in it. Anybody watching, anybody listening, ain't no shame in getting some help and talking to somebody and expressing your emotions. And dog, ain't shit weak, ain't shit non-manly about that shit. Ain't nothing more manly than fucking looking yourself in the mirror and fucking, you know what I'm saying, realizing, you know, you may need some help here or there.
Yeah, bro. Like, real quick, I know we got way off here, but man, some things that help me just real quick is like, man, a lot of those feelings you feel like you're isolated, man. Like I felt like I could relate to anybody. I had anxiety start building up, and I started thinking like, man, I did this when I was 17. I did this when I was 20. I did this shit. I did that shit, man. That shit's gonna catch up with me. Nonsensical shit, like shit that
Yeah.
I didn't even do anything wrong. It's just like something bad was gonna happen from something. Like I kept thinking my divorce, like, oh, she's gonna do this, she's gonna do this, it's just stupid shit. Like I hadn't talked to her in 2 years, you know what I mean? And just, but there's 300 million people in this world diagnosed with anxiety. That's not has it. That's not thinks they have it. That is medically diagnosed.
Yeah,
300.
bro. And I'll be completely honest, man. I've been terrified of diagnosis my whole life. Like, like I definitely have issues, bro. I definitely have, you know what I'm saying? I definitely have ADHD. I definitely have depression. I definitely have anxiety. Now, I'll be real. I self-medicate with cannabis to help resolve a lot of those issues,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
and I'm a shining example of how cannabis can help you function.
yeah, yeah,
And but bro, like dog, man, I'm one of them people you describing, man. I didn't want to go see no psychiatrist. Now, part of that is I grew up broke and I grew up in the struggle and we didn't have
right.
insurance and all that. But man, think about bro, like for every person like me, there's a million people like me, bro. Like there's so many people whose insurance won't cover it or
Yeah, yeah,
especially I'll speak for the black community, man. Like I'll speak for the black community. Like there's this stigma, man. Like there's this you weak, you a crackhead, you and this, you and that, you crazy. Like and I'm not saying it happens only in the black community. It happens in all communities, but man, if you're a black male struggling with anxiety, with depression, you know, dog, fucking, you ain't the only one, man, and you ain't fucking crazy. And you know what I'm saying? There's a lot of other real motherfuckers out here who's gone through that shit, man. But
that's it, brother.
man, I'm gonna kind of pivot a little bit. I know we've kind of hammered home the mental health subject, and that's a subject that's near to both of our hearts, man. And thank you for going there with me because I definitely went there with you. And but I'm gonna kind of pivot to it, like kind of an MMA question, kind of get this thing back, just to having fun. You got Khabib or Gaethje, man? Who's gonna win that fight, dog?
Man, Khabib is a bad motherfucker, man.
Yeah, he is.
I don't like him. I don't like his. I mean, as a person, he's fine. I don't dislike him as a person. As a fighter, it's just not my style. I'm
Yeah,
obviously more. I like more like
striking.
Muay Thai's, yeah, striking base. I want to see people. I mean, I'm not even gonna lie to you. When I watch fights as just an outside observer, I just want to see some motherfuckers get knocked out. Like That's the shit I like. I want to see bangers, bro. I don't give a fuck about you rolling around on the ground and putting somebody in a fucking, some crazy submission. I don't care.
Really?
I want
Okay,
to see you.
okay.
I want to see you drop a motherfucker. Like,
This is interesting. This is interesting, bro, because I spend a lot of time on Beefy Boy Breakdown, like, trying to get people to appreciate, the jiu-jitsu and the rolling and the grappling. But this is
I mean,
interesting to hear coming from a fighter.
don't get me wrong. I can appreciate it, but I can see that shit in the gym. You know what I mean? Like, my favorite
I
fights
feel it.
from. Then that's one of the reasons I like Muay Thai so much, man. Is there's so many, if you can go on YouTube and my probably my like if I had to, I said Dave LeDuc earlier. If I had to pick one like all time favorite, he's not super active anymore, but all time favorite fighter in any discipline is this guy named Kevin Ross, and he didn't start fighting until he was 23. Came from the streets, like in Vegas. I mean, bad motherfucker, man. And he's got this fight where he fought in Japan. Or he fought a dude from Japan. And him and this dude just sat in the ring and just bloodied each other to hell. And there's a picture where he sweeps this guy and he's standing just like arms wide open, just covered in blood. And it's just them just like feeding each other elbows. And God, I love that shit. It makes my heart so. I want that fight. I tell everybody, I want that fight so bad, where I just stand there in front of another dude and we just bleed all over each other. Like, I don't give a fuck win or lose. I just want to be able to like have that like.
No,
Man,
I feel that, bro. That's you. But how you feel about Khabib and Gaethje, bro?
Oh
How you
shit!
feel?
All right, my bad. I get off.
No. I feel it. I respect it. But how you feel about Khabib and Gaethje, bro?
I hope Gaethje knocks him the fuck out. Is what I was getting to.
Okay. That would be a lot of fun. That would be a lot of fucking fun.
Yeah.
Because right. It's the classic striker versus grappler matchup. It's a big matchup. It's Khabib kind of has this air of invincibility about him. He's fucking 29-0, 30-0.
Yeah.
He beat Conor. Like I mean, I love the matchup. I sincerely feel if anybody is gonna goddamn put Khabib to sleep, it's gonna be Gaethje. It's just whether or not he can do it. Like it's the classic grappling versus striking matchup.
And it's the same thing every fight with Khabib too, as far as like his opponents are like, all I got to do is just get up. And like, yeah, I guess that's in theory all you
Easier
got
said
to do.
than done, right?
Yeah, that's like you go to war, and in theory, all I got to do to stay alive is not get shot. But like, it doesn't always happen that way.
Easier said than done. Exactly, bro.
Yeah.
Like I don't know, bro. Like the fan in me would love to see Gaethje win, but the better in me would never bet against Khabib.
Yeah, for sure. Retire undefeated. I'm not gonna lie. Now, I would like to see him.
Yeah, exactly. It would be fucking great.
Yeah, I would love to see Conor to be the one that beats him, but Conor's my guy. But I don't think that's gonna happen. But
yeah, because this is his 30th fight, right? So if Khabib wins this one, most people think he's gonna retire undefeated 30-0.
I mean, what's crazy is like everyone, and Dana White will talk about this too. But what's crazy about Khabib is people want to talk about like how much money Conor has, and he's got a lot. I mean, he's got a lot of money. Obviously, he's got more than Khabib. But
a lot of that is from the whiskey, not the fighting.
And he spins that motherfucker too. When you ever seen Khabib running around in like, in like a Lambo and then a Ferrari and a G-Wagon?
Yeah.
You see Khabib running around like a Toyota Civic, or Honda Civic, and
yeah,
right. Yeah, I mean that dude's got so much money he doesn't even lives in Dagestan. Like I've never been there, obviously, but I'm assuming that's probably not an economically solid place.
And I'm assuming nobody's charging Khabib rent either.
Yeah, I think
he has that local legend vibe for sure.
Yeah.
Man, I'm gonna end it on this question, bro. Is Chimaev the real deal? what's your opinions on Chimaev? For the record, I'm all the way liquidate all accents. Like, I'm all in on fucking Chimaev, bro. But as a fighter, I want to hear your opinion on Chimaev because I've been fucking jerking him off on BP Voice for the past couple of months.
Man, here's my thing with him. He's like, people want to get stuck on his knockouts and like how much he's dominated people, which is awesome. And then the haters of him want to say like he hasn't fought anybody.
Yes.
Here's my thing. I don't give a fuck who you're fighting. Like, I fight people that are just starting out every day. The dude's been hit 3 times.
Yes.
3 times in like 3 or 4 fights.
Insane.
Bro, I'll go fight some bum
in 2
off the
different
street.
weight classes.
Yes, I'll go fight some bum off the street and I'm going to get hit 3 times. Like,
No,
that's
seriously,
just,
bro. Like, I'm all in on Chimaev, bro.
Yes.
Like, I'm fucking liquidate all assets. Like Chimaev's the guy,
Yes.
dog. Like, I do think long term it's important where he finds himself, whether it's welterweight or middleweight. Like, I think
Yeah.
eventually you can't be Terminator forever. Like, you can't just keep dominating both divisions. Like,
yeah.
you gonna have to find a division and settle in. Now, once you win the belt in that division, you can go for the belt in the other division.
Yeah.
But I don't think we've seen anybody try to kind of come for both divisions on the way up. We've seen people reach the pinnacle and then go for the other division, but I don't know if we've ever seen somebody kind of go for both on the way up.
Man, I think I don't know how that cut to 70 is for him. I mean, it seems like it's not that bad.
It seems like it ain't shit.
But, man, if he could stay at that 170, I think he could give Usman some big problems.
Me too.
Big
Like,
problems.
it's crazy because, like, in these forums, these groups, you'll get called a casual for saying shit like that. But it's like, dog, Chimaev's something different. Like,
Yes.
you can't lump all hype trains together, right? Like every hype train is independent and I don't know. I'm all in on Chimaev, dog.
Man, you probably see my post. I absolutely cannot stand Usman. I think Usman is the biggest bum champion we've ever seen in the entire world. And so
come on, some spicy takes.
Yes, I think you line it up tomorrow and Usman gets fucking walloped.
By who? By Covington or by Chimaev?
By Chimaev. And Covington.
Oh!
I think you.
This is the kind of guest I like having on. Somebody that's on board the Chimaev bandwagon with me.
He's the real deal, bro.
Let's go all in. He's the real fucking deal, man. He really is.
I think you run it back with Colby and he gets fucked up too, though. So.
Oh, Chimaev. Are you talking about Usman? Are you talking about Usman Colby?
Usman Colby. I think Colby fucks his ass up, but.
Yeah. So, man, Colby is one of those fighters that, I'll be real, man. And this is what I love about the sport, is because, like, you can have your opinions, you can have your ideals, but at the end of the day, 2 motherfuckers is locked in the cage, and it's like, dog, I can hate Covington all I want to for political reasons, for racial reasons.
Yeah.
But there ain't a goddamn thing I can say about that motherfucker in the cage in the octagon.
He's a bad dude, man.
Most people can't separate those two, and I can. I can separate my evaluation from my opinion. You know what I'm saying? And
yeah, for sure.
God damn it, bro. Like fuck Kobe, but at the same time, God damn is that motherfucker good at what he's good at.
Yeah, man. Yeah, I mean, I'm not saying I would. I mean, I probably would because he's crazy as fuck. Then I'd probably go have a beer with him. But I'm not saying I get along with everything he says or nothing like that. I'm like, sometimes I'm like, oh God, oh. Like I used to be all the way on the Colby train. I even dug the Trump shit just because I thought it was funny. And then recently some of the stuff he said, I'm just like, oh.
Yeah, no, I feel you. He keeps doubling down, but as a fighter, bro, you can't fucking knock him.
No,
you can't knock him. Or if you do, you look like a fucking idiot.
Yes, that's exactly.
like anybody that wants to get their political opinions tied into their MMA evaluations, you'll get fucked real quick.
Yeah, well, that's like a Triple C Henry Cejudo. Dude's a clown. That's the biggest dork in the whole world. But
He's so
like,
effective. He's so
man, you can't
goddamn
say
effective.
shit. You can't say shit. The dude got a gold medal and 2 belts in the UFC. I'm not gonna tell him. I'm gonna say, bro, you're funny as hell to his face. That's all. Like, I'm not taking that ass whooping. Hell no.
Yeah, I thought the biggest, I don't know, the biggest thing about Kobe is like, it's like well known that it's a facade, right? Like when he went on like Food Truck Diaries, like Brendan was like, "Yo, like, are we gonna do this or like what's going on here?" And he was like, "No, like we're doing the shtick." Like Brendan put him on blast
Yeah.
because like Brendan and it's so like decidedly like an image. It's hard for me. It's hard for me. But what I'll never do is allow my political opinions to dictate my evaluations of a fighter.
Yes. It's like
You
LeBron
can't,
James.
you
All these
can't
old
do
white
it.
people, bro. All these old white people not liking LeBron. I hate the shit out of that because he's the best basketball player to ever play.
Oh, my
Different
guy Jay
podcast.
had to
That's a
come with the
different podcast.
spicy.
But
My guy Jay had to come with the spicy take. No, it's cool, bro. We can finish out. That's the last of my written questions, so we can kind of go down this rabbit hole. Bro, I'll be real, man. I'm Team MJ just because of just the just the different eras. Bro, it was like back then, bro. Like back when Mike was winning rings, it was about like who you got. Like nowadays, it's about like how deep is your 12 deep roster. Like I don't know. Bro, I know you team LeBron, and mind you, bro, I'm not Skip Bayless here. I love what LeBron's done to the community. I
yeah,
love what
yeah.
he's done on the hardwood. Like I love LeBron. I love LeBron as like the third best player of all time, not the best player of all time.
Oh God.
Like I don't know, bro. Let's get into it, Doc. I'll go there with you. I'll go there with you, bro. You on my podcast?
All right.
Man,
First of
I'll
all,
go there with you.
if you put Kobe ahead of LeBron, Kobe is not ahead of LeBron. That's all.
No, I agree. I actually agree with that. Believe it or not, I agree with that because Kobe, he won one more ring, but he was so one dimensional. Like LeBron, legit as a passer, as a rebounder, like I do believe that matters for something.
Yes.
So I actually put LeBron over Kobe, but under MJ.
Yes.
Like that sweet spot. Like I put him, I put him second all time. I really do. Like I put him over Kareem. I put him over Magic. I put him over Kobe. But bro, and I know it's the most cliche argument of all time, but you have a hard time like debating me off the 6-0 finals mark.
And you do. But see, my thing about it is, and everyone's like, LeBron is soft. He's blah blah blah. Well, the NBA is
No,
soft.
I don't believe that.
The NBA is softer because of rule changes. But what people don't realize is LeBron is 6'9", 270 pounds. Like
Yeah.
if he played in that era and that's how he grew up playing in that physical era, he could adapt to that era fine. He's
Yeah,
physically
I agree.
built to
I
adapt to that.
agree.
I think
agree. I don't know if he would have gone this long though.
True.
No,
True.
I'm not debating on how effective he would have been, but I don't think he'd be in year 17 if Lambeer and them boys was going after them ribs.
So do you think that if LeBron was on those 6 Bulls teams, that they would be less of a team than with Jordan, and vice versa?
Yeah. No, I do, bro. I really do. I really do.
Oh my God.
I really do. And like I know that's hard to imagine, but like them Bulls teams was set up for MJ to be the scorer. Like
True.
Like ain't nobody gonna give a fuck if LeBron averaged 22, 8, and 9. You know what I'm saying?
True.
Yeah. But I don't know, bro. I love LeBron. I'm not about the LeBron hate. I love what he's done off the court.
Yes. Yes.
I love him as a man. I love that he wasn't a bust. I love everything about him. I just put him second instead of one, and that's one of the fun things about being a sports fan.
Yes. Yes. Absolutely.
Definitely, bro.
I,
But then, go ahead.
I'm not about the like we were talking about earlier. I'm not about the Michael Jordan would never kneel for the anthem before a game. Which, by the way, on another soapbox, because we didn't talk about this, and I was kind of hoping we would. This whole kneeling situation. If you don't like the kneeling shit, you're dumb as fuck. Not even if you don't like it. If you hate it, if you're like so adamantly against it, you're dumb as fuck. And here's why. Because I tell everybody this. Okay, everyone wants to use the our men and women are over there fighting for the flag and blah 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 bull fucking shit. So when we say our
I
when
love
we
it.
speak our oath to join the military, we don't say I swear to uphold and defend the flag of the United States of America, right? That's fucking stupid. That doesn't make any sense. It's a piece of cloth. Yeah, it represents some cool shit and a lot of people that have died and been brought back, and I respect that. A lot of my friends have been buried under that flag. I've got flags folded up from my family members in my room. I've got a flag tattooed on my chest. Obviously, I love that motherfucker. I've given a lot for it. I've got friends that gave a lot more than I did. But yeah, when you sign up to go to the military, man, you don't say I swear to uphold and defend the flag of the United States. It's the Constitution of the United States of America.
Constitution.
And so, what does that Constitution guarantee? It guarantees us the right to freedom of speech. It guarantees us the right that that we have to peaceful protest. And I don't give a fuck who you are. Kneeling is a peaceful ass protest. Ain't none of them motherfuckers doing nothing wrong. Not a goddamn thing. So if you don't like that shit, you're a salty ass old white boomer, and I hate you.
Hey, no, for real. And that's coming from a motherfucking Marine. For all you motherfuckers that want to call us the goddamn communist left-wing podcast, this is coming from a Marine. This is coming from the goddamn mouth itself, man. But, bro, I cannot thank you enough for the time you've dedicated to this podcast. Thank you so much. I'm going to wrap this up. And I'm going to give you one last opportunity to plug anything you want to plug, any of your MMA gyms, any fellow fighters, any of that. But I'm done here. Thank you so much for tuning in to episode 19 of Dreadful Talk. Jay, take it away.
Hey, I appreciate it, man. First of all, I want to say thank you to you, man. Keep hustling, bro. I love seeing the homies succeed, man. I'm all about doing anything I can to help the homies succeed. If one of us eats, we all eat. If one of us succeeds, we all succeed. I'm all about that shit, bro. I want to thank Forza Combat Sports for taking me in a shitty situation here recently. We will be grinding out and fighting shortly. My boy Jad, he fights next weekend. Jimmy Flick, make sure you catch him on
yes, sir.
December 5th, UFC December 5th. I don't know what number it is, but it's December 5th.
December 5th, Jimmy Flick, baby.
The tournament. And then I got a couple of sponsors. I got LMP Trucking. I got Air Faucet Media. I've got some other people that I don't really remember right now. But those are my two big ones. So I appreciate y'all. Everybody back home. All the haters, fuck you. And but that's it, man. I just appreciate the love, and it will always be reciprocated.
Yeah, man, I'm with you all the way, Jay. Thank you so much for being a part of Dreadful Talk podcast, and I look forward to meeting you at the top, brother.
Hell yeah, I appreciate that, bro.